The following is a special presentation of WSAV Sports. Tonight, two of Georgia's best single-A teams square off in Pooler Stadium in a late-season showdown. Swainsboro has been on a tear since August. Their 8-1 record reflective of a strong running game keyed by the powerful legs of Tobias Bigfoot Smith and a stout defense led by sackmaster Christian Tarver. Savannah Christian ranked as one of the top teams in the state this preseason, but fell on hard times after a 3-game losing skid. Since conference play began, they've gotten back on track. They'll go as far as the feet and the arm of quarterback Blaze Thomas take them. The Tigers and the Raiders. Who rules the day in single-A? The hunt for the region title continues next on WSAV CW. Faster than a Mustang, more powerful than an F-150, the WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week is on the air. Powered by O.C. Welch Ford Lincoln.
The next generation of Savannah Christian Raiders ready to cheer them on for senior night, as the Raiders are looking to try to lock up a chance at a region title. At the same point, Swainsboro resurgent this year. They're thinking state title for the first time in 2 years, getting to the finals. Boy, this is one we've been looking forward to. 8-1 Swainsboro, 5-3 Savannah Christian right here at Pooler Stadium. Andrew Davis here with Coach Carl DeMasi. So Savannah Christian's schedule may have been a little bit harder, but Swainsboro has just put a run together that's pretty surprising to a lot of folks.
A run that they've gotten behind in some games, as you know. And just so you know, people, it's cooler in Pooler. We got football weather. We got football weather. Finally, yes. We're not out here in 90-degree weather. But, yeah, Swainsboro is going to be a team to be reckoned with. And they're young, they're strong, and they got some specimens.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Savannah Christian, no slouches themselves. They've got a run of people who could be going D1 or even better from there. Looking at what their team has to do, though, they need to go back and get a win, and they did that 2 weeks ago against Vidalia out there. Vidalia maybe not up to par to Vidalia's standards, but Christian wasn't going to let him get up early. In fact, they threw the ball. Weston Hughes has done a great job there with Blaze Thomas, and they took it basically from the beginning, 37-14. This is a whole different game that they're playing today, though. Looking at those keys to the game for the Raiders, it's a mix of everything that they need to do. They're going to need to run and pass. It's 100% effort of the game on offense. You were talking about that. It's not just effort, it's more than that.
It's staying on your blocks and stamina, because now you got a lot of kids going both ways for the Raiders. A lot of injuries, a lot of kids going both ways.
Defensively, you're going to have to stop a running game from Swainsboro, which is top level. And the special teams, they gave up 4 big kick returns the last time we watched them.
Well, because he's playing a lot of young kids. He's trying to give those kids a break, and you try to give them a blow on special teams. But special teams could cost you games.
We'll see what happens here. At the same time, we're talking about a Swainsboro team that played Vidalia last week. Got well on there, but early on didn't look like that. Vidalia went up early 6-0. Swainsboro was able to put it together, and that running game just eventually took over. And really, they're ready. This is a team, like you said, they've been behind in almost every game, Coach was saying, but they're ready and they win those games at the same point. Their key here, though, after beating Vidalia 35-20, they were looking forward to this game. They got beat 48-14 last year, and Coach Roberts wasn't going to let that happen again. Protecting the football on offense and the big plays on Savannah Christian's play, they're explosive.
You don't know whether they're going to run the ball or Blaze Thomas is going to throw the ball. You got a dual threat quarterback. You got to account for that kid.
And it's going to be a battle in those trenches like you talked about, because both teams are ready at any point in time.
Swainsboro's got a reputation there. Front seven is one of the best in the state, less than 18 points a game. But on the other side, we got all those kids that are on the line for the trenches for the Raiders that got a lot of D1 offers or D1 looks.
D1 looks, at least, maybe not offers yet.
I know,
but
we'll
still,
get into that later on.
Exactly, but I mean, when you have 3 of those guys right there that the high D1s are looking at, you know you've got something, because that's a tradition now at Savannah Christian, is those linemen and what they can do. As the national anthem plays behind us right now, senior night, I said 7 senior football players, 19 cheerleaders. So there was a lot to get through tonight as we wait, and all the coaches are ready and the players are about to be ready out there. But you're looking at this game, especially for both of these teams. Swainsboro's 8-1. They were 3-8 last year. This is Coach Roberts has completely turned this team around, and he's doing it with a lot of kids, a lot of young folks.
I mean, it's definitely a plus when you got those young kids and you can go from 3-8 to 8-1. Something's going on right over there down there in Swainsboro.
Yeah, over at Savannah Christian, they played some pretty tough out-of-conference games. This one's made a little bit tougher as well, because we've got one of their stars that's out right now.
4th toughest schedule in the state.
Well, not helping when you're playing an 8-1 Swainsboro team and you see the guy on crutches, or you see the crutches back there. Wesley Dinkins, their freshman running back, has played so well all year long, and Coach said they hoped it was just a sprain, but unfortunately it's a lot more.
Well, you know, it was pretty serious. I was at the Vidalia game when he went down, and you knew it was a high ankle sprain, or you're hoping it's not a broken bone. So, I mean, it's tough, but you know, they got other kids that are going to step in. You know, Athan Husband's going to step in. You got Landon Tyson. So they got kids that'll fill in.
Oh yeah, they always have some kids, but eventually you run out. When you're only playing probably 30 or 40 varsity level kids, it's tough to keep doing it. So as we head out to the coin toss, you see the people who are there, the captains for the day, as they're going to walk out to the field. Took a little bit longer to go ahead and get out. So interesting to see how that changes. It's only a couple minutes, but you know it'll make a difference. And I like to see the coaches, everybody out here, Baker Woodward and Scott Roberts, not our weatherman, just in case you're wondering at home, not doing double duty tonight.
All right, gentlemen, Mr. Street.
You think you can coach a team?
Y'all can do it.
And we'll go ahead and take a listen as they go ahead
and
do this
now y'all
coin
shake hands,
toss.
guys. Need my speaker? Okay. All right, guys, congratulations on being selected captains for this evening's game here tonight. We finally got some football weather here in the Deep South. So first thing we just did was we accomplished some sportsmanship tonight. Can we do that again tonight for the rest of the night? All right, gentlemen. I got a coin. It's got heads. It's got tails. You get to call the toss. What are you going to call? Tails? Oh, heads. You said heads. Okay, I just want to make sure head, right? It is heads. You have won the toss. You want to defer your choice to the second half? White has won the toss, elected to defer. You guys want the ball, correct? Yes, sir. Which way do you want to kick? So you want to put your back to the clock and kick that way, all right? Savannah Christian, we're going to face the clock. And we're going to have black receiving down here on this end, guys. Let's shake hands, bring our teams out ready to play. Make sure you pull your jersey down.
All right, so you heard it there. Swainsboro won the toss. They deferred to the second half, which means Savannah Christian will go ahead and get the ball first. They'll be in the black with those red helmets. We're going to throw it down to the third member of our team on the sidelines, Hank Tatum. Hank?
Well, yeah, guys, this Savannah Christian linebacker group is going to have a tall task at hand against this potent Swainsboro rushing attack. And so for Ivan Richardson, John Grosh, and Christian Beer, there's going to be a lot asked of them. And the man asking them to step up, former 15-year NFL veteran and Georgia Tech's all-time leading tackler, Keith Brooking. And tomorrow, Keith Brooking will add another, he will be inducted, into the Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame. And so we caught up with head coach Baker Woodward about the achievement for his linebackers coach, and he mentioned that Brooking hasn't brought it up once. He hasn't said anything about it. He's very humble, but that doesn't mean that his guys don't know who he is. Woodward said that sometimes his guys would YouTube highlights or the famous pregame speeches of Brooking, so they know exactly who's leading this group, and they're going to have to step up tonight against a very good Swainsboro rushing attack.
Hank, thanks so much. Yeah, congratulations to Keith Brooking. Tomorrow, a big day for him in the Georgia High School Hall of Fame. Of course, he'd like to get a state championship ring to go with that. Would be nice right now. You know, Coach, we talked about it too. You know, more than just Wesley Dinkins, but also one of their big D linemen is out, too, said too.
Yes, number 78, Jalen Wright. He's on crutches. He, from what I understand, he tore his ACL at the Vidalia game. I was there. I know he went down on one play really hard, but I didn't think it was that severe. So, you know, that's the story of Savannah Christian season this year. It's dealing with injuries. It's coming over the adversity of injuries. You know, they're playing with Band-Aids, and I don't mean Band-Aids in the wrong way. The Band-Aids are who's the next one to step up and cover that injury, and that's what's going on here. And it's going to be a tough tale tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. They lost 2 wide receivers before the season even started, and they're still able to be 5-3 and lost to 3 of the best teams basically in the area, 1 out of South Carolina and 2 out of Georgia. So they had no easy task in that schedule, but that's why they played it, to get ready for games just like tonight. So the region title still in play for Savannah Christian, but they've got to beat Swainsboro first. Swainsboro's got dreams of a big run in the playoffs. Here is that kickoff. Quickly picked up on the tail, about the 15, to the 20, to the 30, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50 before he's taken down at the last second. Great play on that one for the Savannah Christian runner, Jonah Brooking out there. Weston Hughes. So
taken down by number 2 for the Tigers, Mr. Duke. So, I mean, that's a great way to start. I mean, you're starting at the 50-yard line. The closer you are to the end zone, the better chance, the better percentage you got to score.
Exactly. I had Brooking on the mind after Keith Brooking talked about earlier. So number 6, Weston Hughes, who we're going to hear a lot from, I think, in multiple levels, especially with Wesley Dinkins done. Again, Wesley Dinkins, the freshman running back, 750 yards on the year and 3 touchdowns, will not play tonight and probably will not play for the rest of the season, according to Coach Woodward. Meantime, right at the 50-yard line, that's where the Raiders will start their first plays here. Referee crew, we're going to work on the arm for the referee crew on that one. Didn't quite make it to the sidelines, but now we're ready for play. So Savannah Christian will start. Blaze Thomas, their quarterback, their all-purpose quarterback, running and throwing. He'll hand it off here first. And a good chunk yardage, and that could go all the way. Touchdown, Savannah Christian, Athen Hudspeth.
Oh, man. I mean, was that an omen on the kickoff? Was that an omen? Hughes takes it to the 50, and Hudspeth takes it the rest of the way. You know, and these two kids are also great baseball players, too. So when you need your athletes in a small school like this, what better way than to go to? You star players.
And you said senior night may not mean that much to him. Well, 2 seniors just made that happen. A senior to the 50 and a senior taking the rest of the way. Great vision on this to get through in a huge hole once he was able to make it through that first level.
But when we talked about 100% effort, that's what we talked about. Keeping your hat on the other hat. That means the line blocking the line. Drills it right through.
Kick is up and good for Carson Leak, who's 25 of 27 now, 26 of 28. And a little bit of fireworks to start at 11:38 left, and Savannah Christian in a 1-play drive after a big kickoff return takes it in for the score. Can't set it up any better for Baker Woodward's team.
But like you said, you called these kids the comeback kids when you sent me the info for tonight's show. And 5 games they were behind.
Yep.
Going into halftime, too.
So this is not a place that Scott Roberts is unusual at any point. He says he feels like it's going to happen. I talked to him and I said, he's like, I hope it's a good game. I said, well, no matter what, it's going to be a good game because you're going to be down at half and then you're going to have to come back. So we know what's happening here.
But you know what? I'm going to blow a bubble here, okay? My son, Russell Damasi, is the offensive coordinator. Go right at the heart of their defense. And that's what he did because Jabari Smith, who's been out three weeks, who's a power 4, 20 scholarship offer guy, they went right at him and they just took it right down the field in the first play.
He has been out a little bit for 3 weeks, so it's interesting to see how much he can play and what levels he's at. So far, Coach Roberts says he can play. We feel pretty good, but he's not 100%. So we'll have to see what he can do out here.
I'm just going to say, the kid's a block, you know, what is it, like, what's the cliche?
Block of iron, so steel?
I don't know. He's a copy of me, that's all I got to say.
Marco Danford, Kyle Johnson, 2 of the men back, a 3-man back for this.
A chip off the old block.
That's what you're looking for.
Go.
So Carson Leak will be kicking this one off for the Raiders. Big crowd here for senior night, both sides.
Hooch kick.
That'll be Danford. Danford's going to be at the 3. He gets it to the 15, and not much more, and a big stick. Somebody's fired up. It's Athen Hudspeth one more time. He's known for his defense more than his offense. Didn't have an offensive stat from freshman year until this year. Coach said, we need you to play it, and look at what he's done already.
I mean, on defense, where are my stats for? 50 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. I mean, he's just having a senior night, like you said.
He's having a big one, so we see the starting lineup right there for Swainsboro. It's starting with the quarterback, Joshua Gray, just a sophomore, 6'2" about. Coach says he's grown about 5 inches since he's even shown up at school, so he's still learning the game and learning what he can do out there. But instead, Gray is not the man right off. Instead, it is Marco Danford, and Danford's going to get the ball on the Wildcat, and he's going to get across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. So they're going to run a bunch of different systems. While Josh Gray is their typical quarterback, Danford's going to get the ball, Jabari Smith is going to get the ball, multiple players, and the Savannah Christian defense is not going to be able to key on just one. You know, Hank talked about at the beginning, that linebacking core has made most of the tackles, almost 180 plus this year for them, but the back half, those corners are going to be tested when Swainsboro does throw today. Weston Hughes has proved himself on both sides of the ball.
As long as your defensive line can keep them off the second tier, which is the linebackers, Savannah Christian's going to be in this ball game, and you know, right there they showed the lineman having a big tackle.
So again, Danford in a Wildcat style formation. He's going to hand it off to Smith this time. Smith's got the corner. He get tripped up though right about the 27, 28-yard line. So that'll be 3rd and 3 on this one. Smith's got good top line speed and able to get around the corner. 68 carries, considering he missed 3 games. You can see how much they'd like to run him more. 400 yards, but 11 touchdowns. He's got a nose for the end zone.
I mean, he's a big dude, and you know, when he can go both ways, but he's being recruited to be a linebacker. But when you're at this level, you got to play your best athletes both ways. And I guess when you get down 7-0, let's throw Smith in the backfield.
You see a 6'3", 205 guy in Swainsboro. He's going to be playing both ways, no question there. So now Josh Gray, the sophomore, will be under center as they could throw, or at least 3rd and 2 looking at it. Gray drops back looking for a screen pass, and he's got it to the outside, and it's dropped by the running back. So that was Smith right there. Not great hands, so we'll see what happens if Swainsboro are going to go ahead and punt.
Now this Coach Tomas is going to put on his hat here, Mr. Davis. You got 3rd and 1. You just got Smith, who just gained 5 yards. You throw a swing pass? I mean,
out of the shotgun, which is not their typical by any means. And now that man Smith plays linebacker, plays running back, and he's also their punter as well, averaging about 39 yards a punt.
I heard he drives the bus too.
Whatever it takes, right?
You got it.
Back deep is Weston Hughes, the wide receiver for Savannah Christian. Smith with a line drive kick. Hughes will have a chance to return it, but instead he calls that quick fair catch, and they'll be at the 40-yard line for their 2nd drive of the day. Baker Woodward's done a heck of a job with this team. You know, 10-1 last year, 4-0. Thought he had the team that was going to go all the way. Got tripped up in the playoffs, and has basically had to reset most of his entire team. 7 seniors only.
But you're only as good as your coaching staff, and he brings up some good assistant coaches, and he's got some guys that have been with him a couple of years. So, you know, he does a great job. He's built a program here, but his assistant coaches keep it all together with him.
You wonder why they're so good? He's got 3 different guys coaching offensive lines, so
and
you know exactly where he puts that, yes, and he's one of them out there. So here's Blaze Thomas, the quarterback. He's going to hand it off again to Hudspeth, and Hudspeth is going to lose 2 this time. Pulled down by a cadre of characters, including Christian Kirkland on that one. So interesting, Blaze Thomas is the key for everything. 1,400 yards passing, almost 600 yards rushing, and 21 touchdowns between them. That defense from Swainsboro, they're based a lot on that linebacking core. We talked about Smith a little bit. Derek Hughes, Christian Tarver, I have a feeling we're going to call his name a lot on here too. So it'll be 2nd and 12 for the Raiders.
Don't be surprised if number 3 takes the ball right now.
And there's Thomas in the shotgun. He'll drop back, he'll look, he'll dump it off quickly to the outside to Hudspeth again. And Hudspeth again will make it miss tackle, and he'll get all the way down to past the 1st down line.
You got to love the stutter step. He stepped inside, the defensive back stopped in his tracks, and he took it outside for a big gain. Here, watch the replay. Good pass right out to the outside, right to the edge. You know, of course, we had someone's arm in the way there, but believe me, he took a step to the inside.
That's about 23 yards on that catch and carry for Hudspeth, who's clearly going to get the majority of these carries, at least early in this game, with Wesley Dinkins out. But as you said, Blaze Thomas has 111 carries himself, so he will touch the ball a lot in multiple situations.
Empty set. There's no running back with Mr. Thomas.
Mixing up a little bit on offense here. That Damasi style coming into play. Thomas will carry this time himself, and he's going to get nothing. In fact, run down by Shannon Benjamin, their corner on that one. Benjamin's got a big year, 23 tackles. He's got 3 picks and 4 passes defense, but he can also support in that run game.
Yeah, they come up hard on that one. I guess they're sitting on it. They know when he's back there by himself, he's going to run the ball.
Thomas has improved significantly as a passer, but I think you're going to want to make him throw facing off with the Savannah Christian game.
But he's been very good at throwing the ball too.
And his arm, we've seen him for 3 years. His arm has gotten significantly better in that time.
I mean, he's very good at hitting the quick out pattern, getting the ball to the flats. Passing wise, he's 66 for 100.
Yep, 66% exactly. I could do the math on that one. So here's Thomas in the in the pistol set. He's going to fake it and hand off. Nope, throw it right over the middle to Hughes, and Hughes will get down to about the 28-yard line. Another gain of about 14.
Right on the money, right over the middle.
These are two guys who've been throwing to each other since about 5th grade between them, so they know each other very well. Weston Hughes has improved significantly. He's grown significantly too. Coach hopes he can get a really good offer someplace because he's going to be an asset to the team.
Just came right behind the linebackers. The linebackers came up for the run, put it right behind him. Perfect pass.
So far the dream start for Savannah Christian. Already with a 7-0 lead after a one-play drive, 50-yard run by Athen Hudspeth. Now they're driving one more time. There's Thomas. He's going to fake it, rolling out, then he's going to dump it over the middle there. Quick toss to Ivan Richardson, the linebacker turned running back, and Richardson will get a couple yards. A little bit of everybody going to have to contribute.
Well, he was out there. He was like an H-back on that one. So you want to call him a tight end or a H-back. But, you know, right there, leaked out right when the defenders got right on top of him. Perfect play.
But he's a guy with basically zero offensive stats.
Right.
So, as we said, with Wesley Dinkins, their main running back out, everybody's going to contribute.
Well, now he has 3 catches on the year.
There you go. See? It's all you need. So, and an improving linebacker, we'll talk about him a lot more on the defensive side as well. But huge play there on offense that he makes for the team. There's Thomas. He's going to keep it himself. He's got a little bit of room, but it quickly closes. Good tackle by Derek Hughes, one of the linebackers for Swainsboro on this one. Excellent job by him. He's got 79 tackles on the year, 4 tackles for loss. He's all over the ball.
Hey, big hole right there. He still picked up 4 yards. So, I mean, pretty impressive.
But I really like what Hughes can do. Again, not the biggest guy out there when they're playing, but he's got a real nose to get to the play and get to that ball carrier.
Check at the line.
It's a lot of line checks that they do. It's a hurry up and wait kind of offense. And there's Thomas. He's going to hand it off again. Nothing doing this time, though. Quickly picked up. That's Smith in the middle of that to make that tackle.
First one for the night for the big guy. Or as they called him, Bigfoot, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he filled the gap very nicely right there.
Good fill as well by 22 Ashton McCassell, who made a nice play to get there, and Smith cleaned him up.
Well, you know the saying, just hold him up till the reinforcements come, and that's what he did. Big play right here, 3rd and goal.
They are spreading him out again. An empty backfield for Blaze Thomas. You might expect him to run off of this.
This way you got to get a big push from that offensive line if he's running the ball.
No, he's going to fake it. It's the duck and throw. Excellent play. And it's a cool and easy touchdown
to Mr. Goodman.
Andrew Goodman out there, the tight end. 8 catches before that one. 1 touchdown. Make it 2.
9 with 2 now. And, talking to the offensive coordinator, they're using Goodman now as a defensive back because they're so short in the defensive backfield. And that's why him and Richardson are going to go back and forth. Such
a good play call there. Everybody thought Thomas would run. He made that 1 step forward, pushed back, and threw a dart right to Goodman.
Because the defense is coming up hard.
There's Carson Leak. That kick is up and good. And Christian with an early 14-0 lead. But Swainsboro, the comeback kids, they're right where they get them right now. We'll see exactly what they can do on offense when we come back. 5:14 left in the first, right here on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week. The WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week brought to you by O.C. Welch Ford Lincoln. Looking for a new truck? Go see O.C. today. And right now, the Savannah Christian fans are seeing exactly what they wanted, which was 2 early scores by their team. on senior night, and boy, they couldn't be happier about this. And Carl, it's been the running game that's worked, but really the passing game's made a difference. We'll talk about it in a minute, right after we talk to Hank Tatum on the sidelines. Hank?
Well, guys, despite this 14-0 deficit, Swainsboro is going to continue to run the ball, and they've got 3 rushers for over 400 yards, combining for 21 touchdowns. That's Kyle Johnson, Jabaiah Smith, and Marco Danford. Now, there's not really a rhyme or reason as to who gets the touches when. It's more so that they can get rest for their defense, as 2 of those guys, Jabaiah Smith and Marcus Danford, play both ways. So sometimes it's just about not only who's got the hot hand, but who needs the rest for when they go back out on defense.
High kick right there. Good job, Hank. Javion Sherrod there with that pick, and he's only going to get back to about the 20-yard line. So Swainsboro, you know, their identity is running, and 14 points in the first quarter is really nothing in their minds because they do know that they can come back from those deficits.
Well, you know, they've done it before, and I know when you sent me that little text message, and they're not going to quit, and their coach talked about that so much. These kids don't quit. That's what we're proud of them this year, so pretty impressive.
They really are. Everything that they've done this year after going 3-8, Coach said actually is the best thing. We started lifting right after Thanksgiving, so it got us an extra month of work, and really these kids did well. There's Hughes. He's quarterback, and he just drops it on there. Josh Gray, unfortunately, couldn't get a handle on that. Quick out that was open and just couldn't make it. This is the trouble. You got a sophomore quarterback in Josh Gray. He's done a nice job, 981 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 INTs only, so he's protecting the ball, but there's still sophomore growing pains.
The ball slipped out of his hands.
Yeah.
He's going to pass it, which is a fumble, which you said.
Yep. So we'll see, and that's not the way they wanted to go. 2nd and 15 now. They were looking to pass early. It's a mixed bag offense for them. If they can get passing and running, that's how they do best. There's Gray, and he's going to hand it off this time, and that's Marco. Kyle Johnson on that one. Kyle Johnson, their leading rusher, 85 carries on the year, 564 and 4 touchdowns.
And only a freshman.
He's got a lot of skill. Coach Roberts talked a lot about his building and what he can be in a couple years. It's tough to see the freshmen when they do that well because you don't want them to get a big head, but know that they have to keep trending up and working, I know, too.
Yeah, but when you're a talent, you need to be on the field.
And he is on the field a lot, and that's where he is right next to Josh Gray. And Gray will throw back. He looks to pass, fakes it twice, nothing there. Nothing open still, looks to run. He's got a little bit of room. He's going to get it past the 30, right at the 30-yard line.
Short.
Just a little bit short, we believe. Boy, great coverage in the secondary by the Raiders. Gray had no place to go to his left, then decided to try to tuck it and run, and was able to just get it to the 30-yard line to be 4th and 1, and they're going to have to punt again.
What was key was the defensive back didn't come up right away to tackle him, and he couldn't dump him over it, so he had to do something, so he had to run the ball. Great play by that defensive back on the Raiders defense.
Probably as a sophomore, as a junior, senior, he may make that pump, which could hold that guy a little bit longer and maybe able to get the extra yardage.
Just like we saw Blaze do.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens here. Jabaiah Smith, your running back, linebacker, punter. This is a better kick for him. And that's going to go all the way, and that's going to get a huge Tiger bounce.
Nice route roll.
And it's going to get inside the 10, all the way down to the 8-yard line. Yes, Bigfoot lives up to his name there with an enormous kick. That's going to be 63 yards when he's finished.
That's the one when you're a coach on the sideline saying, no, that doesn't look good at all. But the return it doesn't
get to touch it.
Doesn't get to touch it, and it gets such a great roll.
Direction can mean more than height and distance and everything else.
That's one of those ones, Andrew. No, yes!
Yeah, exactly. Savannah Christian out there with the 14-0 lead. So far, Blaze Thomas, just as advertised, 4 for 4, 41 yards in that touchdown. Athen Hudsmith, 4 rushes, 66 yards and a touchdown. Of course, one of those was for 50 flat. So Taj right on it with the stats, and so far, all the stats have been in favor of the Red Raiders.
Empty backfield again.
So we see this is something that they didn't do all the time, but it does give him some distance on here and gives Thomas a chance to run, and that's exactly what he's looking to do. Not this time, though. He's going to lose 2, maybe 3. Brought down in the backfield by Aiden Foskey. Foskey, the defensive end, 46 tackles on the year going into that, and that's his 5th tackle for loss.
He got through that gap too quick. Somebody didn't get a hat on him. That was the problem right there.
Well, I think these defensive linemen seem to be quick. They're not an attack-style defense. They don't have a ton of tackles for loss, but instead they fill where needed to make sure you're not going to get distance on them.
But this is a college war in the trenches. Both these offensive and defensive linemen are huge.
There's some big guys on both sides of this, for single A especially. So
exactly.
There's Blaze Thomas. He's going to run an option. He's got a little bit more room this time. He's got a lot more, in fact, up to about the 12 before Smith takes him down with a little bit of help from Wesley Reese.
As you see, it opens up right, the little pitch fake.
Good tuck on the inside to learn that over time, running that option to see.
But that little fake is what froze the defense that got him that extra yardage.
And this is what we said. We've watched him right here on the Friday Night Blitz for 3 years, and his growth as a quarterback and as a player has been significant.
A lot of confidence this year, a lot of confidence.
He started as a sophomore, and everybody went, oh, this is the weak link of your offense, and they made him hand it off much more than he ever threw, and over time it's become his offense.
Third and 7.
There's the handoff up the middle. No, it's a fake, and it's a pass, and it's going to be caught by Cam Yeldell. Again, a good fake by Blaze Thomas.
Right on the money there. Put it right in the breadbasket.
You know, if this, maybe the scouts are here, whatever it is, they're seeing a Blaze Thomas who is right on the mark.
And what's great about this is the wide receivers are getting the defensive backs on their back, so it's very hard to knock down a pass like that.
But you couldn't ask for a better throw, though. If that's in any other corner, that's not going to be complete, but he hit him perfectly.
Everything's clicking.
This is exactly how Baker Woodward would want to see it. There's Thomas. He's going to hand it off up the middle and get one, maybe two at the most. That was Hudspeth.
And there's
couple guys in there on the interior of that line making tackles. I'm impressed with sort of the variety of the guys they have. Hughes is by far your leader, but even their nose tackles got 29 tackles. DNs have 28 and 46 and 45 from the other linebacker spot too.
And just to say, it was Tykevius Worthen, number 50, sorry, I take that back, number 56, Cameron Ricks, only a 9th grader.
Yeah, they've got a lot of young kids on this team. The basic spot is the only spot that they are old, if you call it old as seniors, is on their own offensive line. After that, it's a lot of juniors and sophomores. And that will be the end of the first quarter, and it's a first quarter dominated by the Raiders. Savannah Christian with the ball. Well, we'll see what happens. It could be a timeout, or it could be the quarter. I heard the buzzer go off. So we're going to assume it's the end of the quarter.
Yes, it is.
Well, they will sort it all out. There could be 1 second left. It could be the end of the quarter. It looks like they're not moving the ball, but either way, we're going to hold off for a minute. There is 1 second left. They have not moved the ball at all, so we just like to fake you out a little bit. It's like the Blaze Thomas fake on the touchdown. We were able to fake you out whether it's the quarter or not the quarter. So
but
the play clock was running down, so Savannah Christian called the timeout is what we're finding out here. So they didn't get it off in time, so we're just looking to see what happens. It's a pink out as well, which is always nice for Breast Cancer Awareness Month out here. Even the cheerleaders in their pink for everybody. We always support that. It's Paint the Town Pink. Of course, WSAV has been a key component to all that. Our own Tina Tyus Shaw has done many things with Buddy Check 3 over the years as well. So there is exactly 1 second left on the clock.
And Ben Singer, the newscaster of the year for the state, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Anchor of the year, and Tina was the newscaster of the year. So
that's a tag team right there for you.
It's a good one, absolutely. Proud to have them there.
And they're on your side.
Very good. You know things. I appreciate that. That's why we drive it into your brain as much as we can. So there's Thomas. He's going to fake the handoff. Don't worry about that buzzer. He's going to go deep, and it's going to be over the head of his intended receiver on that one. And there's a flag, though, which could be on Swainsboro because it's out in that area of pass interference. And it will be Michael Street, who I believe is quickly becoming the Friday Night Blitz referee. So that will end the quarter.
It can't end on a defensive penalty.
Even a quarter can't.
Defensive pass interference, 15 yards against the defense. Happened at the end of the quarter. By rule, we will have one untimed down.
There you go. You and Dan, my producer, are absolutely right on this one. It's a one untimed down. I thought that would just be at the half or the end of the game, but it's every quarter, so they do get an extra untimed down. You know, so this quarter will never end, is what we got.
Tobias Bigfoot Smith. Well, we got Dan the Man Flexer.
Exactly.
I mean, in the booth.
He figured it out. He knew the untimed down ruling. We'll see what they do. So they went deep. You know, you got to keep them honest. The running game not working other than that first play by Hudson. They really have not been able to get much going on the running game. So the passing game, though, has been doing what it needs to against these corners. So we will be 1st and 10. Right at the 48 of Swainsboro after the penalty for an untimed down at the end of the first quarter. Thomas with Hudspeth behind him. The handoff to Hudspeth. He found some room, then closes up quickly, but he's able to dive forward for about 6, pulled down by Shannon Benjamin and Tobias Smith. And I promise, now is the official end of the first quarter.
We're out of here.
We're done with one. Savannah Christian not done yet. 14-0. They've got the ball. We'll see what they can do on the offensive side when we come back right here on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week. The WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week brought to you by Chicken Salad Chick. Deliciously fresh in Bluffton, Savannah, Pooler, and Statesboro. Made from scratch, served from the heart. And as always, thank you to Chicken Salad Chick for feeding our crew during these days. We always appreciate it on game night. Here's Blaze Thomas looking to feed a little bit more. He's not going to get anything, maybe a yard at the most. Couple guys in the middle. There's some angry people on that defense right now. They want to stop him. Jacoby Woods made sure he wasn't going anyplace fast.
Well, he ran into the back of his own man, so.
Then Derek Hughes also was there.
Came over.
You said they have to fill those holes and make sure they don't get yardage, and that was big. 3rd and 5. This is a huge spot right now at the 42. This could be 4-down territory depending for Savannah Christian, but right now Swainsboro down 14-0. Andrew Davis with Coach Carl Damasi on this one. Interesting to see what they call here. The passing game has been their bread and butter so far. There's Thomas. He's going to fake it. He's going to curl back, and there's Yeldell again. Yeldell was not able to hold on, trying to make a move before he caught that ball.
You got to catch it, look it into your hands before you start running, and he looked a little too quick down the field, but it's right on the money again.
Yep, couldn't have hit him better in the hands, unfortunately, but Yeldell trying to do too much, and that happens sometimes. So it's going to be 4th and 5.
If he declines it, he wants 4th down right here.
There was a penalty, though, and Swainsboro's talking about declining it, I believe, to go to 4th down.
Now here's the decision. Do you go for it or you pin him deep and make him go 90 yards?
Got ineligible against the offense. That penalty has been declined. It'll be 4th down.
So Swainsboro could have pushed him back 5 but given him another down. Instead, they're going to go to 4th and 5, and it appears that Savannah Christian's going to go ahead and punt for the first time. And Carson Leak will also do this. He's averaging about 40 yards a punt.
Punt, yes. And I remember when we did Fellowship Christian that Coach Woodward told us that he's a soccer player, that he got him to come out, and he's been doing a really good job.
Doing a very good job with that. So we'll interested to see. We have not been on the special teams yet. That was a real Achilles heel for Savannah Christian, but it was kickoffs, not punts. We'll see exactly what's going to happen here. Cameron Duke's back, almost blocked. And every punt is an adventure against Statesboro. Why? Because Christian Tarver's blocked 3 already this year. He almost made it 4 right there. So Christian Tarver is a linebacker who's got really no major offers right now, according to Coach. But Coach also said he should be. If he had an inch or 2 more height, they'd be all over him. He's about 6'1", 225. 3 block punts, 45 tackles, 12 tackles for loss. Coach loves him and would love to see him get some of that attention that a lot of the other guys, including Jabaiah Smith right next to him, gets.
Well, they got to go 80 yards. That's tough in high school football. So, and they haven't really put anything together offensively.
Well, we'll see what they can do here. A dropped ball and a pass that was dropped. Haven't been put much together. There's Kyle Johnson. Johnson, their rusher. He's going to get 3, maybe 4 yards.
Belton on the stop for the Raiders.
That's one of the few positive plays that have happened so far. It's a build for Swainsboro. As Coach Roberts was saying, we're used to being down, so that's not a question. It's now making something happen and making it not how far can we get down, but instead get back in this game early.
Yeah, the defensive end for Savannah Christian come down the line. He ran out the quarterback. I think if he would have came down the line, he would have got 19 in the backfield.
We'll see what happens. Kyle Johnson, just a freshman, had 2 touchdowns and 162 against Vidalia last week. There's the fake to Johnson, this huge, good pass, wide open man, and that's going to be cut back. Jaden Wilcher to the 20. He's going to get dragged down from behind and afterwards to the 8-yard line. Good follow on that one by multiple guys. John Gross, the linebacker, tracked him all the way down, but not before a huge 60-plus yard pass.
Right on the money, another slant pass, this time by Swainsboro.
And John Gray there, Josh Gray, a good throw, a little high, but perfect play. And in fact, it looked like Richardson almost went for the pick instead of the man, and it cost him big.
Yeah, you got to come down and wrap.
Jameer Jackson helped on that tackle with Gross, who tracked him down. So suddenly, Swainsboro right back in action inside the 10-yard line.
Wildcat.
That's Danford. He's going to pitch it. No, he's going to keep it himself. He's going to get hit about 3 or 4 times. He's able to get all the way back to about the 10, 11-yard line, but that's still a loss of 2. You drop a snap, it'll kill you every time, Carl.
Yeah, well, they put Danford back in that Wildcat.
Well, Gray does not run much. He's only run 9 times on the year for just 26 yards. He's their quarterback who throws. Danford is one of those guys. He's got 60 rushes on the year, more than 400 yards, 6 touchdowns, along with being a great wide receiver for them with 16 catches. Now Gray is going to be back under center. You've got to think they're looking to throw or hand off then here instead.
I think you're going to go with the
Kyle Johnson is next to him.
The Johnson kid right here.
Move him, switch him from side to side. And that'll be a timeout for Swainsboro. A little bit discombobulated on that one, Carl. Kept moving side to side. Weren't quite sure what that play call is. And this is too important right now. So as we go to break, we're going to find out exactly what happens in that huddle and what Swainsboro can do to get back in this ball game right here on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week. The WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week brought to you by O.C. Welch Ford Lincoln. Find the certified pre-owned cars or truck you're looking for online at GoSeeOCFord.com. Up top for Swainsboro, that's going to be a touchdown right out of the break and right to Shannon Benjamin. Josh Gray, the sophomore, to the junior Shannon Benjamin for the score. Swainsboro on the board.
Yeah, but if you watch the replay, watch number 3 push off the defensive back for the Raiders. Watch the replay right here. We're not going to get a full look at it. But he pushed the defensive back inside.
Carl, we have to be even-handed on this broadcast, sir.
I'm just telling you what I'm calling, what I'm seeing in the game. I'm not saying because it's Savannah Christian.
No, I didn't get to see it. I think when we get another wide shot, we'll get a better sense. There was some hand fighting. There's no question on the outside. Ref didn't call it, so I guess in that case it doesn't count. That's what we're going to say for now, even though I know that's not number 1 on the list. So, Matias Castillo, your junior kicker. That one will be up and good, so it's 14-7 now as Swainsboro puts points on the board. Let's take another look and we'll see. Judge for yourself on the pass and the play.
Right there, he just pushed him right away.
He did push a little bit, there's no question, but the ref was right there and didn't call anything, so wasn't too much, but there was enough. There was enough. It could have been a call, but it wasn't.
Push.
So.
And I'm not saying because it's Savannah Christian. I mean, it's clearly a push.
Just so we understand, the offensive coordinator for Savannah Christian is Russell DeMasi, who happens to be related to Carl. So Swainsboro,
just understand, I'm not doing it because of my son.
I know you're not. I'm making fun.
I'm
Savannah
being a
Christian
coach,
right
and
now,
if I was the coach, I'd be out there right away.
The comeback kids for Swainsboro so far. Down 14-0 to Dublin in the fourth quarter. They win 15-14. Tied with ECI. Scored 20 to win it in the second half. Tied with Appling in half. Win. Down 14-0 to Country Day in the second. They win. Down 12-8 to Vidalia at the half, and they win 35-20. What does it take for a team? Once you win once, does it just sort of get into your DNA that you know you can keep coming back?
It's called confidence. You know, you're facing adversity. You've been in this spot before. The kids believe in themselves. So
it's an interesting theory when you get down that many times and are able to come back. So Yeldell is back there. He's going to go ahead and get this kick. It's going to be a short one, only to the 23. He's past the 30, gets clipped right about the 32, knocked down at the 37-yard line. Good play by number 13, Caleb Jones. Of course, Carl, I'm giving Carl trouble. Russell DeMasi's made a big step forward for this offense and for Blaze Thomas. Coach Woodward was talking about it. He simplified it. It's still a complicated offense, but at the same point, he simplified it for Blaze Thomas to make him play better.
I know, it seems like I'm a homie, but I'm just doing what I see on TV and hear on TV, watching those color guys calling plays.
Talk to me about what Russell's been able to do with Blaze. This is why you have some of this knowledge and what he's been able to do with this offense to make it better for him.
Exactly what I said. The kid has more confidence. You know, my son, I feel, has made it a little more simpler for him.
There's Thomas who hands it off up the middle and nothing doing that time. Swarmed under maybe a yard at the most for that running game.
You know, I had Blaze on my Wednesday night internet show, the Savannah Sports Report, and I mean, he talked about how much my son has helped him see a lot more on the field than ever before. So, and he gives a lot of credit to him.
That was the run by Landon Tyson, who's really their third back. Hasn't gotten a lot of carries, but is going to get more in this game. Continuing on, especially with the running back situation. As we said, their leading rusher, Wesley Dinkins, was out for the year, potentially, according to Coach Woodward, after an ankle injury. So here's Thomas, another high snap. He's going to hand it off this time. No, it's another fake, and just behind the wide receiver on that one, Weston Hughes not able to bring it in.
Well, the inside slant pass is right there.
The play-action passing game right now is on point, though. Really good fakes by Blaze Thomas.
And it's pulling the defense up. The receiver's getting behind him. Well, the last two they've dropped, though. But that one he threw a little behind.
That one I think he was a little behind. Weston Hughes is pretty confident with what he can do.
Yes.
You know, he's got 32 catches and 7 touchdowns on the year. He's got 4 touchdowns since just 4 weeks ago when we saw this team. Already 2 catches, 34 yards, as you see right there for Weston Hughes. So we'll see what happens. 3rd and about 9. Thomas looking to the sidelines with 3 wides, 4 wides. He drops back. Big lane for him. He's going to get pulled down. No, he's going to escape. Able to find Athen Hutsmith. Great play by Thomas to break the tackle and find a wide open wide receiver.
And that's something my son don't teach. That's called desire, hustle, knowing how to make something out of nothing.
A scramble drill on that one, so interesting to see here. Almost pulled down once, then as the man was getting to him again, Hudspeth did a great job though in coming back to his quarterback.
Never kept his, never stopped moving his feet, and that's what got him there.
Boy, what a smart guy. 5'9", 165, 200 yards rushing along with his defensive stats. He will be a nice player for somebody. He's just a little undersized for most of the big programs. And there's the run right there by who else but Hudspeth right there. And Hudspeth gains about 4, maybe 5. That will give him 6. Interesting the transition too, that he didn't have to play offense for 2+ years because they didn't need him. This year they brought him in, and he's done an excellent job in learning how to play running back all over again.
Well, at the beginning of the year, they weren't sure how well Mr. Dinkins, Wesley Dinkins, was going to be. I mean, the kid had over 700 yards at this point, but he's out. So you always have to have a backup.
And he's done a nice job as that backup because they really haven't had anybody else done exactly what they needed him to. There's Thomas, fakes the pitch. Another big fake by Thomas, and he's broken 2 tackles. He's out in space. Can he make it all the way? No, he'll get knocked out about the 7-yard line, but good job by Blaze Thomas making that happen. Kamarian Dukes pushing him out of bounds. Thomas, those fakes have really made a difference on Swainsboro's defense. They're not used to what he's doing.
They're just too over-aggressive. They're not staying they're not staying in their lanes. He makes a fake, they're going to that fake. You just got to stay home. You got to what's the word I'm looking for? You got to hold your ground.
Yeah.
You know, responsibility football right here.
Good job by Blaze Thomas, too, as the leader, the quarterback, and with all the injuries they've had, just basically runs out of bounds, does not try to take a hit or cut it back when he doesn't need to.
Now, this is key right here. They got to bounce right back and punch it in here.
So in by the 6, there's Hudspeth, and he's got a lot of room, closes down quickly, but not before he gains at least 3 to 4 yards. Pulled down by Jaden Wilcher. Look at the sidelines. You know, Savannah Christian holds their breath every time somebody goes down to the ground right now, the way their injuries have happened. But these guys have been really tough, especially on the lines. 6:08 clock ticking here in the second quarter. Savannah Christian early 14-0 lead. Swainsboro just come back with a big pass play and a drive on their own for a score. And we're here, it's where we are, 14-7. So 2nd and goal from the 3 for Savannah Christian, in the black with the red helmets. Swainsboro in the white with the gold. And that'll be a timeout for Savannah Christian as they take a little bit longer on that play. But when you're down on the goal line, you don't want to make any mistakes, especially in a game that looks like it could be back and forth. Swainsboro just proved what they can do on the offensive side. See what Hank Thanem's got to say from the sidelines. Hank?
Well, guys, as this Swainsboro team tries to get a goal line stand here, obviously we're watching for Jabaiah Smith, but another guy to watch is Christian Tarver. Now, we talked to Coach Scott Roberts before the game about Tarver, and he said that he's got all of the tools to go play at the next level. He also plays left tackle for the offense, but he's just a little undersized, and so Coach Roberts is having to almost do the recruiting for him, telling college coaches that this is a guy you'll want on your team, but if he was 6'3", he'd be at a Power 4 school in D1. So right now, that's kind of the struggle, is finding schools that want to take on some of the smaller guys because of the transfer portal, and I know you mentioned that as well for a few Savannah Christian guys.
I think it's both sides, Hank. You're absolutely right, and the coaches talked to me about it. You know, Carl, this has been a couple coaches in a row saying the portal is what everybody's focused on, is who can they get from the lower schools, or when can we bring somebody down, and instead it's leaving a lot of these kids just waiting and wondering.
It's hurting the high school kids, and that happened with COVID-19 when they gave these kids in college extra year, extra 2 years. I mean, what is it, Purvian at Vanderbilt? He's played 7 years in college. I mean, it's ridiculous.
He's older than you and I think, by now. So.
Maybe you, not me.
All right, so 2nd and goal from the 2. There's Blaze Thomas, the quarterback, high snap, but he's able to pull it down. The defense stiffens. They get maybe a half yard on that at the most. Big shot that Thomas took there from the D-line.
Yeah.
It was Jabaiah Smith right up the middle. We've called his name a lot. If there's a question whether he's healthy or not, he's all over this field tonight.
Hey, he's a big guy.
So it'll be 3rd and goal from about the 1.5. We'll see what the Tigers defense can do. And is Baker Woodward already thinking about a 4th down play? Hudspeth in the backfield with Thomas. And Thomas will take it. Thomas will go up and over. He's pulled down from behind by Jabaius Smith. And I don't think he made it. He's going to be very close, but not all the way. That wasn't Smith. That was Wesley Reese instead. Boy, that's a strong man to be able to pull the quarterback back. Blaze Thomas is not the littlest guy. He's strong in the lower end. And no, did not get there. He's going to be about a half yard short.
Yeah, the lead blocker didn't pick him up.
No question in Savannah Christian's mind. The Raiders are going to go for this one more time. 4th and goal from the 1. Thomas. Hughes on the cross. They'll give it to Hudspeth. He stacked up, and I don't think he got in. I don't think he got in. The Tigers, they're going to do a goal line stand and suddenly turn the tables on Savannah Christian.
Big stop right there. Jabaius Smith, or as we call him, Bigfoot, he filled that gap, and Hudspeth wasn't going anywhere.
What a defensive stand by the Tigers on that one. Excellent job. Backs to the wall, about to go down 2 scores again, and instead, Swainsboro right back in this ball game with the ball at the 1.
Hey, these kids have been behind before, as you saw in the last graphic.
Let's watch here as Hudspeth goes and tries to go right up the middle. And that time it was Jabaius Smith, and the strength and the leg drive that he showed when Hudspeth coming at him, not thin doing on that one. Now Smith does play offense, as we talked about, but he's focusing a lot on defense tonight, especially because of the injury that he had, that his knee. He's got 19 Division I offers. Pretty impressive. The throw up top, and that's a catch by Josh Gray up top to his man, Marco Danford. And suddenly, Swainsboro out of the hole.
Well, they can't run the ball against the Raiders, and they're going to start throwing it.
Nice toss here by Josh Gray. Perfect angle, and Danford had a step on his man. It seems like they're trying to find Jameer Jackson a little bit. We've called his name a lot that they've worked on. I don't think it's anything or it just happens to be the side, but it's worked for him so far.
Well, I know talking to the coaches, they're playing 2 freshmen in the defensive backfield tonight because of injuries.
And Jackson is one of those freshmen, so interesting they're working on him. Here's the fake run. They're going to do it on quick pass to the outside instead. That's Marco one time. Danford gets about 2, maybe 3.
Pass call by Danford.
And, you know, I question the touchdown interference call. Well, I'll question right this. I don't think the guy's knee hit the ground.
Well, we'll take a look here on
Here we go right here. Yeah, it did.
Sideline warning against the Raiders.
Interesting. So Danford, though, seems to be the go-to guy in this drive. 2 plays already.
Gonna bring up
Coach Roberts with a smile on his face right now.
8.
He wasn't smiling when they had 4 downs inside the 5 earlier. So his defense comes up big, and suddenly they're on the move in the other direction.
Well, we knew it was going to be a battle.
Here's Josh Gray, your quarterback. Kyle Johnson's next to him. He's going to give it to Johnson. Nothing doing there. Huge defensive line stop.
Johnson on the
They're fired up on the inside on that one. Give that credit to R.J. Brown, just a sophomore. He's that next level of high-end offensive lineman and now defensive lineman that Savannah Christian has.
Well, they got to use him wherever they can use him. And both teams cannot run between the tackles right now, so that's why the passing has been big tonight. You got 3rd and 9. You know they're going to throw the ball here.
Coach Woodward said R.J. Brown's already got high D1 offers as a sophomore. See what Swainsboro can do on offense here. 3 minutes. Josh Gray, your quarterback. He's going to look to pass. He's going to be in trouble. He's going to try to get away. He will not get away. Huge sack there by the Christian defense. The Karate Kid pose. And nice job by Ivan Richardson on the sack.
I mean, the kid's been a machine all year on tackles.
Second sack of the year for Richardson.
But he's had 67 tackles already in 8 games.
But that's what's impressive is he's had 67 tackles. Christian Beard, their linebacker's got 62. And Hudspeth's got 50 as well. And John Gross has 61. So the 3 main linebackers are all right there. But Richardson has been a revelation, according to Coach Woodward. And even Coach Brookings said he is far beyond what we thought he'd be walking into this year and has improved significantly. Did exactly what the Raiders needed to do there. Going to force the punt.
Jabaius Smith.
3rd punt for Smith. He's going to get this one off. It's a pretty good kick. Hughes will just go ahead and catch this at the 37, and that's exactly where the Raiders will start their next drive with 2 minutes left and a 7-point lead.
And 1 timeout.
That's a big difference right now with 2 minutes left. That passing game has been on point so far. A lot of play action with what they've done. So Hudspeth, 9 rushes, 84 yards. Remember, 50 of those came on 1 play. Thomas has 6 rushes for 46 himself, 6 of 9 for 61. So no shortage of offense so far, according to our guy Taj.
Well, Blaze Thomas is very good on the quick out patterns, and I've seen him doing it a couple of games because when I'm not on TV with my man Andrew, I go to the Savannah Christian games to watch my son, and he can put the ball on the outside, and they get it down the field pretty quick. So let's see what happens here.
He threw a lot of lollipops as a sophomore, but I don't see those anymore. He's got he's worked hard and grown into what he is as a good quarterback. And now the snap is over his head, though. He's going to try to pick it up and make something out of it, and he may. He's going to dump it off to Yeldell, and what a play by Thomas. And Yeldell's down to the 30. He's out of bounds at about the 35. Talk about making something out of nothing.
Can you say magic?
Wow. A lot of guys would have just fallen down on that one and taken the loss. Instead, Blaze Thomas said, no, 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 I got something going. And instead of even just running it himself, was able to find Yeldell on that little Patrick Mahomes double pitch. Right over top, almost knocked down. And great job there to get a huge gain. I'm impressed with what Yeldell's doing. His stats don't show as much as he may mean to this team. So 1:48 left at the 36-yard line of Swainsboro. Andrew Davis here with Coach Carl Damasi. The Red Raiders, he's going to go up top. Blaze Thomas has got his man, and he does. No, it's knocked out at the last second.
He said
Weston
he was down.
Hughes had it. No, they're going to give it to him?
Yeah, the referee said he caught it. Let's see what happens here on the replay. He's got it. He said the ground caused the fumble. The ground caused the no catch.
You don't want to be a homer. Turn on that call then, Carl, because that was worse than the pass interference call that you didn't like.
Ground caused it.
It doesn't matter. You got to bring it down to the ground.
It should have been an incomplete pass. I agree with you 100%.
Wow. Okay. Interesting play there, but we'll see. Swainsboro coaching staff not happy about that one at all. Savannah Christian thrilled with what just happened.
Swainsboro calls a timeout because that's the only way you can talk to the official.
And you know he's got a few words. Does Coach Roberts out there?
But Coach Roberts doesn't seem that type of guy to use a couple of choice words. I mean, I think he seems like a pretty mellow guy.
I didn't say they were dirty words. I just said they were choice.
I didn't say they were dirty either. You said choice.
You know, that's the difference. Take another look here. Exactly what happens. You can look. He gets it all the way into his hands, and he definitely pulls it down. But that right there, he never had control as he hit the ground.
I agree with you totally. Another call.
So that's 2 blown calls in theory on the team.
Hey, we got to be, you know,
according to what we're looking at here. The first one, the push on the Swainsboro touchdown right on the edge, that seemed a little bit more clear. Tough call, but the referees made it. We have to go with what exactly they did here.
When are we going to go to instant replay on high school level? I mean, they do it on every football level.
You know, here's a better shot. Great camera work by our guys. You see Hughes go down.
He's got it. He's bringing it in, but doesn't have control.
No. I mean, we'd have to look at the catch rule on that one. In the NFL, it's not a catch because it's all the way down to the ground. He did get 2 feet down, so maybe in the high school world, that wouldn't be a fumble.
I got to correct myself. They have it in playoffs.
There you go. There you go.
Yes, they called it a catch.
Yeah, they called it a catch. So interesting. Down at the 4-yard line. Swainsboro already had 1 goal line stand. Can they do it again? They're the Raiders. There's Hudspeth, and Hudspeth walks right in. No time there. Drops the ball, but way after he's across the line, so it doesn't matter.
Great blocking up front.
Was not going to let that happen again. The Raiders no chance to let that happen, and they go ahead and punch one in for a 21-7 lead.
Right here, the offensive line, they got everybody tied up. Great block by number 72, Jordan Dillon. We call that a pancake. He took his guy to the ground to make that hole for Mr. Hudspeth.
Jordan Dillon, everybody's favorite out there on the offensive line for Savannah Christian. Good kid, but also really talented, and as a junior, wanted by just about everybody in the nation. Kick is up, and it is good on this one. Carson Leak. So we're back to a 2-touchdown lead. Savannah Christian with a 21-7 lead. Swainsboro with about 1:20 left. They have been able to throw, and they've been getting some after the catch yards as well. See what they're able to do on offense.
I think their defense will be a little, Savannah Christian's defensive backs will be a little further back. But there's big number 72, Mr. Jordan Dillon.
25th ranked interior lineman nationally. Tried to get out of coach where he was looking or where he was going. Coach had nothing to say about that one. I don't think even Jordan's not sure. 14 Division I offers from basically all over the place, including the SEC, which a bunch of those guys are in top. Any thoughts on where he could go or should go out there?
I mean, you know, he's got so much talent. I mean, you know, I haven't got a really good look at his feet. Does he have quick feet? I mean, he's definitely getting those offers. So they know a lot more than I do. 14 Division I offers. Not a bad player. He's
been starting basically since he was a freshman too, so he's got the skill set that they need. And as we were talking about, you're talking about 3 offensive linemen on the Savannah Christian team that have Division I offers from very good teams, including R.J. Brown, who's just a sophomore, as well as J.T. Howell, who's getting looks from multiple teams. I think Georgia State was one of those that's involved on that too. So this offensive line, well known that Savannah Christian pumps out prospects from that offensive line.
Hey, they're all preseason all-state players.
And they're proving it right here with more rushing yards and 3 touchdowns early on against a very good Swainsboro team. There's Leak, who's going to kick it up. That will be returnable from the 7. They get up to the 15 to the 20. He's got a hole to the 25 to the 34-yard line. Javion Sherrod on that one.
It's always an adventure with Savannah Christian's kickoff team.
There is a flag, though, and that will be a block in the back, which will knock them back.
Half the distance.
For them, 35 yards is actually a pretty good job.
Right, but it's going to go half the distance to the end zone. So.
Because Fellowship Christian, last time we were here, returned 1 for a touchdown, returned 1 down to the 5 and 1 down to the 10 while they were there.
You know, in high school, if you kick it out of bounds past the 35, the ball comes back to the 35. If you kick it before, it goes where it goes out. That's something you might want to think about.
I'm sure there's some temptation on Coach Woodward's fact
I can tell you, being a head coach for almost 20 years, when I knew they had someone that was that good, I made sure we kicked it out past the 35-yard line.
Boy, it's going to be way back, too. They were up at the 35 plus. They're pushing them back inside the 10, it appears. So a block way back on this one. See if we can catch it from the wide angle.
There you go, right there.
That's right there. Knocked him out of the way. So, yeah, that'll be about the 15, so they'll have it there. Almost intercepted on the first pass. Hudspeth could have made that a 3rd touchdown right there. Instead, it's just an incomplete pass.
That would have been a big blow.
Would have been huge. Hudspeth had a lot of green grass in front of him. Just not able to pull. Boy, it hit him right in the hands, too.
Yeah, Gray didn't even look away. He was looking right away to the receiver.
Again, a sophomore quarterback has done a very nice job. About 60%, a little bit less on the percentage they are passing, but they're not a passing team, they're a running team, so he's been put in a position where he's going to have to throw more in this game if they're going to come back.
Well, we discussed it before the game. If they went to the passing game, it's going to be tough.
And there's Gray, nope. Plays blown dead. Be a false start on Swainsboro, so they're going to push him back another couple yards. So suddenly Savannah Christian with only 1 timeout can't stop them. But
here's a thought for you and the viewers. I mean, 1:07 to go. You're deep in Savannah Christian territory. You get the ball to start the second half. Just get out of here without a mistake. Get out of here with a mistake.
I think you took the first shot to see if you could get some yardage.
Right.
Now you're in a position pushed back inside the 5, right about the 5. Maybe you run the ball. Hopefully maybe you get 10 or 15. And if not, you kneel on it because Savannah Christian doesn't have enough timeouts to stop you.
You had Hudspeth almost with a pick 6. You had a legal procedure.
We'll see what happens here. Gray and Johnson. There's Johnson, who's going to get some yardage. He's going to get past the 15 to the 17, 18-yard line. And I would think you're going to let this clock run. The 3rd down, you'll probably throw, but it won't be. You're going to let this clock tick first.
They're moving. They're not staying.
No, you're right. Shows what we know, Carl. That's why we're on the broadcast and not on the field. I think they suddenly slowed it down real quick. So this is a 4 wide receiver set. And now they're just going to pull it back on this one. They're going to let this, I assume they'll go ahead and call a timeout at 0. Or they're going to go ahead, no, 10 seconds. They may go to 1.
45-second clock is down to 5.
They will go ahead and snap it. They'll hand it off to Johnson again, hoping to break one free. And Johnson's going to get some yardage, but only to about the 22-yard line. 8 seconds left in the second quarter. You assume that we will just take this to half after this starts after the first down. But some money-making plays for Swainsboro at the end of the half there to show that their running game can do some damage. Right now, though, it's the passing game from Savannah Christian, which has made the huge difference. So we'll see what happens. The comeback kids, well, do they have one more in them? I'll bet you Swainsboro's thinking about it, that's for sure. 21-7, halftime. Savannah Christian with the big lead. We'll tell you what's going on around the world, around the nation, around the weather, and much more coming up on the halftime show right here on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week.
Now back to the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week and your Georgia Department of Public Health at the half.
And so far, getting healthy out there. Well, healthy and happy. Look at that 50. The 50th anniversary of Savannah Christian's 1975 championship team from the SEAIS.
And who's holding the ball? Ken Griner.
Ken Griner right in the middle
dog.
there. The grind dog, look at him. He's so happy with the number 2 on there. What does SEAIS stand for, Carl? That's your test for the day.
Southeastern Inter-Athletic Association.
Very good. I don't know if that's right, but it sounded good.
I wasn't living down here then.
1975, 50 years. Congratulations to them. What a celebration. Could it believe it's 50 years since 1975?
It's almost 50 years for me, too. So, yeah, it's gone pretty quick. It's gone pretty quick, and I can understand those guys having a good time. You know, our last high school football game, we didn't make the playoffs, but we won. We beat our arch rival. It's something you never forget.
And it's one of those things. Those guys are all tailgating in the parking lot, having a good time together. I'm sure they see each other once or twice a year and remember exactly what that meant
for the ones
to them.
that are still here, it's very special.
Exactly, and they're looking at a really good team right now. Coach Baker Woodward believes this team can go all the way, just like that team did. And so far in the first half, they proved that.
Well, you just got to hope the injuries don't kill them. That's what's been going on all year. And they've been battling it. They lost 3 good teams because they didn't have a full squad.
Yeah, and that scheduling's so tough for them with only 4 region games. He was talking about it. It's tough to put 6 more games on that schedule and find teams that aren't just way above your weight class that are going to challenge you too much.
You know, I said 4th toughest schedule is the 6th toughest schedule. So, like you said, they don't shy away from playing better teams. And, you know, if you want to be the best, you got to play the best. And he can't find any other teams to play him, so he's got to go after the best. Hebron Christian's already called him for next year. So, you know, it's Savannah Christian. Those teams aren't going to shy away from either.
Yeah, you look at the teams like Jenkins and Benedictine who have a giant region where they're playing 7 and 8 games on there. Big difference for what Savannah Christian is doing right now. So we're looking outside at all the fans and everything that's going on there. The Coastal Health District works to improve lives in our region. This week we're talking about diabetes and hypertension. This is an ongoing battle that many of our neighbors deal with. If you're one of them, we'll introduce you to programs that give you the tools to fight back. Here's Ginger Heidel with the Georgia Department of Public Health at the half.
Thanks so much for that, Andrew. I am Ginger Heidel with the Coastal Health District, and tonight I am joined at the desk by Christina Gibson, who is our district's Chronic Disease Prevention Program Director. Now, Christina, that is a mouthful, but let's boil it down. Really what your program is about is helping people make small changes that can lead them to living a healthier life, right?
That is correct. Yes, our motto for our team is make the healthy choice the easy choice. And it's not always that easy. So with a cultural humility approach, we're trying to share information with people that can give them strategies to avoid diabetes and hypertension.
Let's talk about hypertension, also known as high blood pressure. It's a common concern, but it can lead to a lot of problems. Talk to me about why it's important to get this under control and what your program can do to help.
So yes, it's important to keep your blood pressure under control because it does lead to a lot of different complications and other chronic diseases. So we have two programs. We have the DASH program and we also have the Healthy Heart Ambassador program. So our DASH program is dietary approaches to stopping hypertension. We are always told what not to eat. We're always told that salt is, eating salty foods is not good for hypertension, but we're never told what to eat. So this program shares eating plans that people can use to lower their salt intake, but also up potassium. Potassium lowers blood pressure, and a lot of people don't know that. With our Healthy Heart Ambassadors program, people are taught how to properly take a blood pressure and also what the numbers mean and different ways that you can lower your pressure. If it's through exercise or nutrition, we give different strategies for that.
Okay, that's great. And another program that you have is tackling the issue of type 2 diabetes by trying to get people maybe either before or right when they're pre-diabetic before things move into that type 2 diabetes. Talk to me about that program.
Sure. So we do have a diabetes prevention program. It is a national program that is a year-long program, but we have people coming together like once a month to talk about how they survive with diabetes, because diabetes can be it involves a lot of lifestyle changes, and it will change people's way of eating because you have to reduce your amount of sugar that you take in and also use the sugar that's in your body. The problem with diabetes is that people don't use the sugar that they eat, and we need sugar for energy and to do things, but without exercise, and if you live a sedentary lifestyle, it can lead to the diagnosis of diabetes, which is very, very common now.
Yes. Okay, that's it. One thing that is another program that you have that I feel like runs underneath all of this and a lot of other chronic conditions is tobacco use and e-cigarettes. And so you've got a program that deals with that.
So yes, we do have the Georgia Tobacco Quit line. Fortunately, it is still alive, and it offers 24/7 over-the-phone counseling to help people quit. And I used to be so critical of people who smoked but didn't realize how strong the addiction to nicotine is. So the Georgia Tobacco Quit line will give people strategies to help them quit and quit for good. It can take up to 7 attempts for someone to quit smoking, but if you can quit smoking or vaping, it will help you avoid chronic disease development exponentially. So we're really trying to push this program because tobacco use can really influence somebody's risk.
Sure. So there are a lot of resources we've talked about tonight. Where can someone go if they want to learn how to plug into our programs?
So you can go to our website, coastalhealthdistrict.org/healthy healthy living.
Healthy living, that's what it's all about. Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ginger. Now we want to remind you the WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week is brought to you by the Coastal Health District, improving health for those who live, work, and play in the coastal counties of Southeast Georgia. Learn how the Coastal Department of Public Health can help at coastalhealthdistrict.org. Band plays on for the Red Raiders over here. The Raiders of Savannah Christian doing their part with an early 21-7 lead, but the comeback kids from Swainsboro get the ball to start the half. We're going to have much more halftime coming up for you in just a moment.
Now, more of the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week halftime show, sponsored by the Georgia Department of Public Health.
So far, Blaze Thomas and Savannah Christian have done what they've wanted on the offensive side of the ball and have a big 21-7 lead over Swainsboro, but the Tigers get the ball to start the second half, and by the way, they're known for their comebacks, so this one is far from over. Well, it's taken us 9 weeks, and finally, we had some football weather out here, a little chill in the air, perfect for exactly what we're talking about here on the Friday Night Blitz, the Game of the Week. So, of course, we said, Scott Roberts, you have to come out and tell us exactly how the weather goes and why it's so fantastic.
It is fantastic because we have high pressure and control, giving us a clear sky and dry air at the surface. That's why it's really comfortable. Temperatures for some of our inland communities already cooling off into the 50s this evening, lower 60s for us here in Pooler right now. So definitely nice football weather, and that's going to continue into the weekend for us around the southeast. Checking out some of the games, Syracuse taking on Georgia Tech in Atlanta tomorrow at noon with a mostly sunny sky, temperatures in the lower 60s by kickoff, warming into the upper 60s, maybe lower 70s as the game goes on. But either way, it is going to be pretty comfortable up in Atlanta. And here in Savannah, we have Savannah State's homecoming game kickoff against Morehouse's at 3 o'clock here in Savannah with a mostly sunny sky. Temperatures will be pretty warm in the middle and upper 70s as the game goes on for a few spots, especially further inland if you're going to be doing anything else, but pretty comfortable later on as the game wraps up, starting to cool off into the lower 70s. So a nice day to head out to Savannah State for that game. Also, if you're going to be going to the parade early in the morning, it is going to be chilly, but warming up then as we head toward lunchtime. And as far as Georgia Southern, they're traveling to Arkansas this weekend. They're going to be encountering some rain, unfortunately. Temperatures not too bad early on, but getting kind of cool as the game goes on, getting down into the 60s with the showers and maybe some storms developing across Arkansas. That same system will eventually bring us some rain going into the later part of the weekend into next week. I also do want to mention that, of course, South Carolina playing at home against Alabama. They're going to be dealing with fantastic conditions up there in Columbia. Now, as far as that weekend forecast, clouds will start to increase for us locally through the day. Sunday, a few stray showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm not out of the question, but the higher rain chances will be with us early on next week, especially for Monday, as that next system swings through the region. Rain chances on and off throughout the week. And then at the end of next week, a strong front will be moving through the southeast. That will bring us some showers for Thursday, but then for next Friday, not only do we have high school football, but it's Halloween, and temperatures will be even cooler than what we have been experiencing tonight, and that will be the case for next weekend. We're talking about lows in the 40s, highs possibly just in the 60s. So if you think this is fantastic football weather, next week, Andrew Davis, is going to be looking even better for us here in the Coastal Empire and the Low Country.
We appreciate that you're able to make it out, Scott. Of course, when the beautiful weather's here, you don't mind being here, but especially that you're able to join us at halftime because you're doing double duty tonight. In case anybody didn't figure it out, the coach of Swainsboro also named, yes, Scott Roberts. So there they are. They're the twins, Scott Roberts and Scott Roberts. I don't know how you ended up as the Danny DeVito character exactly, but apparently that's who you are. It works out there. Scott Roberts from Swainsboro, 8-1. Scott Roberts from WSAV doing a great job. Doesn't have a record yet, and we're pretty happy about that. But so there you are, Scott. It's the twins, Scott Roberts and Scott Roberts.
We're that special.
You are that good. Looking good out there, guys. No question. Scott, thank you so much. And Dan, great job in making that graphic for everybody to see exactly what Scott Roberts looks like. All right, we're going to get back with much more coming up right here on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week halftime show.
You've been watching the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week halftime show, presented by the Georgia Department of Public Health.
The WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week brought to you by O.C. Welch Fort Lincoln. Check out our exciting lineup featuring Aviator, Corsair, Nautilus, and Navigator. Looking for a Lincoln? Go see O.C. today. Well, right now, Savannah Christian driving home the point that they think they are the best team in this region and maybe the best team in the private school regions down here is single A. 21-7 lead over Swainsboro. The Tigers, though, doing what they can to stick with us, but the theme of this one has been the passing game of Savannah Christian. But it all started with a rush. Athen Hudspeth from the 50. He's got nothing but green grass in front of him, and that would give Savannah Christian an early 7-0 lead. And then after a punt from Swainsboro, nothing able to do anything on offense. This is Blaze Thomas over top. Good crossing pattern. Excellent catch by Ivan Richardson. That's getting down to the 10-yard line. And then the step forward. Touchdown pass over top to the tight end. Easy score for them on that one for Andrew Goodman. And then one more time, this time to Cam Yeldell. Blaze Thomas doing everything he can on that side. Swainsboro came back with this huge play. A great crossing pattern and great run by Jaden Wilcher. And Wilcher would bring it all the way down inside the 10-yard line to the 8. From there, it's a loop pass. Perfect from Josh Gray. Up top to Shannon Benjamin for the score. And Swainsboro puts 7 on the board. But then, after a short play, easy big pass, and suddenly goal line stand from Swainsboro. So they were right back in this ball game after that one. But Christian would get the ball back. After this play, a crazy one. Blaze Thomas over his head. He tosses it, push tosses it over to Cam Yeldell. And that'll be right before half, getting him down inside the 30. And with a minute and a half left, Thomas would go up top to Weston Hughes. Hughes pulls it down. Refs say it's good. Inside the 5 to the 4. Hudspeth this time would not be denied, all the way into the end zone. And that's where we are right now, 21-7. Savannah Christian over Swainsboro. Blaze Thomas, 8 of 11 for the Raiders, 120 yards and a touchdown. Hudspeth, 11 rushes, 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hughes with 3 catches for 66. On the Swainsboro side, Gray has been pretty good, 3 of 6 for 108 yards and a touchdown. And our guy Kyle Johnson, the freshman, so far 5 rushes, 19 yards. They're going to have to get more of a running game together if they want to come back in this game. Coach Carl DeMasi is back with us. Carl, I mean, really, you just look at the total yards, you understand exactly why the score is what it is. But I think it's Savannah Christian altering their game plan. Instead of trying to rush against the Swainsboro defense, they've been able to find the passing plays.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, if you get hat on hat or you get blocker on blocker, okay, Savannah Christian can run the ball. But if you watch, Swainsboro is so over-aggressive that the man you're supposed to be blocking is already down the line of scrimmage, so it's making it tough. But, I mean, you know, they're controlling the game. They got the game, like you said, though. You know, they still got 135 yards to Swainsboro's 25.
And we talked about it before, though. And Swainsboro, not their best half by any means. A very good half for Savannah Christian. But this is a team right now from the Swainsboro Tigers that have come back 5 times from double-digit deficits to go ahead and win. Looking at this region, Toombs and Savannah play each other next week. Swainsboro already lost to Toombs. They lost by such a margin that they cannot win the region. So really it's either Christian or Toombs. Christian, of course, in the private school bracket, looking to try to improve their seeding.
But it's like you said, seeding. So it doesn't matter if Savannah Christian, wherever Savannah Christian ends up. I mean, if they win the region, they're guaranteed a bye. Okay, but if they finish second, they could be guaranteed a bye because of the power seeding rankings.
But don't you want to be 3 instead of 6 in there, because that makes a whole difference on who you're playing?
I think where they are, their strength of schedule, they're not going to be as low. They'll be no lower than 3.
So it should be interesting to see out there. And this is far from the last one. There's a lot of games with playoff implications out here. Tonight at 11:15 on the Friday Night Blitz, that's what we're talking about. Lowndes and Richmond Hill is quite a game so far.
35-21 Lowndes.
Richmond Hill was up 14-7 at one point in there. Jenkins and Island Jenkins wraps up the region.
Jenkins was up 21-0. They win, they wrap the region.
They win the wrapping region, and I think they've got a chance to go a long, long way, Carl. Calvary's going to be second in that region. Probably they're going to beat up on Groves.
Oh, they are.
So, PD Academy, Bethesda, what a great game story for Bethesda.
39-0 at halftime.
Gotta love Bethesda, what they're doing. Effingham and Glenn, we're looking at Effingham next week.
17-0, Effingham's up on Glenn Academy.
Oh, you know the Rebels would like to do something. Providence Athletic and Coastal Homeschool, there's a little bit of something for everybody. So we got lots of different games for you on the Friday Night Blitz. In fact, one more time as we look through that next run, there's a couple more that are pretty interesting. Bishop England Bluffton, you're playing for positioning. Hilton Head Christian, not quite the year. John Paul's turning into a decent team over there, though. ECI Claxton, they just don't like each other much.
And Long County versus Southeast Bullock, that's for a battle of a playoff spot also.
Spot. That could be a 3 or even a 4, if at all, for that playoff. Very interesting. Southeast Bullock's put up a good fight a couple times.
Just so I know you're a little interested in too. Right now, South Effingham was beating Statesboro 3-0.
We need to see more of that.
We got to get more scores.
Statesboro's in play to go against Effingham next week. We haven't fully decided yet, but we could use them to have a win.
They both win. It's for the region.
It's for the region, so it's a pretty good game.
And they come to Effingham this year because last year we were at Statesboro.
Yes, we were. Indeed.
Yes, we were. You see, you got to remember that, buddy.
I remember. Well, I was at Effingham 2 years ago when they won the region for the first time in 30 years.
I'm talking about last year. I don't know what happened 2 years ago. I'm talking about
Windsor and Johnson local rivalries out here. Beach and Liberty County. That's, Liberty County still got a possibility to do something.
Liberty?
Yeah,
that's going to set up where they fit. Beach and Liberty are fighting for that third and fourth spot.
Third and fourth spot with Long County and Southeast Bullock.
True. Right. You already got Calvary and Jenkins, so you got Liberty County, Long County, Southeast Bullock, and Beach fighting for those 2 spots.
Exactly. Toombs County, Vidalia. Toombs just wants to go win it to make sure next week means something for them.
Right.
And then South Effingham, Statesboro, you said it was 3-0 South at one point.
I mean, if Savannah Christian gets to go to Toombs County for that region title in the pit.
So we'll see what happens, and Hank Tatum's on the sidelines for us, getting into his pink over here with all the cheerleaders side to make sure he's supporting the breast cancer side. And now we're going to go ahead and kickoff. We talked about every other game. Let's talk about ours. We got a good one so far, 21-7. Savannah Christian leading Swainsboro, and here's Swainsboro with the ball. There's a run back. Again, we talked about the problems on the kickoffs, and it comes back one more time. A huge play by Marco Danford, and he's going to get to the 48-yard line. Savannah Christian, as we've talked about from the beginning of this game, if you aren't with us, they've been decimated by injuries. A lot of the guys who would be on that kickoff team and be in these positions are not there, and a lot of freshmen are playing, sophomores are playing, and the kickoff return is where you're seeing that inexperience.
Well, you got to get those kids off the field somehow, and you were hoping that they would pick it up by now.
All right, Hank, you talked to the coaches on the way in.
Yeah, guys, and so we'll start with Savannah Christian. Head coach Baker Woodward said that if he knew that he was only going to give up 7 points and it was through the air, he'd be very pleased. The one area that they want to focus on in the second half is the short yardage runs. And then on the other side, for head coach Scott Roberts, he said his team is used to being down. He felt like once they settled in, it was only a 7-7 ball game, so they have to continue to play well on defense, and he said the key is their run game as well. It hasn't been very effective thus far. They've got to get going if they want to get back into this one.
Good point there, Hank, and interesting, they went with the pass right off the top over there. Josh Gray, the quarterback, just missed his receiver. Those slants have been open all day, though, Carl.
Both teams, it's wide open. Both teams are coming up hard on the run. So you leave in the middle of the field open, just get it right behind the linebackers, it's there.
So the quarterback for Swainsboro again, Josh Gray, just a sophomore. Coach says he's grown 3, 4, maybe even 5 inches in the last year. By the way, he happens to be the principal's son as well, too. So interesting system. They transferred in from Jenkins County, both of them, and Coach very happy to have him here. Says he's really becoming a player and only going to get better in the next couple years.
And he's only a sophomore. In that backfield, you got a sophomore, you got a freshman.
And this is a junior, Shannon Benjamin, who just caught that one. He's down to the 44-yard line. And third and about 1. Last time they went on a big pass play, and Carl just about lost his mind. Hopefully they're going to run this time.
I know I would. Just being the old offensive coach I was.
Interesting, running out of the shotgun, though, not in that quarterback spot. 7 or 8 in the box for Savannah Christian. They definitely think they're going to run. They go outside to Johnson. He's going to push forward, and he will get the first down, but only by about a yard. Tough sledding for the defense.
Here's my philosophy, and I talked with my youngest son about this. You got 3rd and 1. You're in shotgun. You're 5 yards. Get under center. Do a tush push. Do something.
It's really interesting to see because we talked to one of the recent games, and they said they completely threw us off because they were in an I formation. And that's what high school football especially has become. Spread them out as much as you can and either throw or run out of that formation. They got into an I with a tight end, and people didn't know what to do on the defensive side.
Well, they're staying in the shotgun formation.
There's Gray. He's going to go up top. He's just overthrown his receiver. That one intended for Shannon Benjamin. Again, good coverage by Weston Hughes.
Well, you know, that's been another thing besides special teams, defensive backs for Savannah Christian. So they're trying to exploit their weakness because, you know, between tackles, it's hard to run. Like he's 26 yards in the first half.
Yeah. Hughes is your guy as the senior. He's the guy you probably don't want to throw at. As you talked about earlier, Carl, they've got 2 freshmen in that backfield, and they've been going at them more. This time they went after Hughes, and it didn't end up with a catch. So we'll see what happens here. Swainsboro not really able to run, which is their bread and butter. They're at the 43-yard line. There's Hughes. He's going to throw again, and he's going to throw it up, and it's going to be off the hands of his wide receiver on that one, and the flag will come down. We've seen a couple interesting calls on the outside.
No, it's pass interference. He made the right call on that one.
Oh, he's holding his arm is why.
But
can't
you
hold your
also
arm.
got the offensive player holding the defensive back's jersey, so.
Pass interference, we're going to have 15 yards from the previous spot. It'll give us a first down. Pass interference against the defense, 15 yards. Results of the play is first down.
But you know as well as I do, when it comes down to that, the receiver will always get a little bit of the doubt, and that's a trick by a receiver to sort of hold their arm as much as they're claiming to hold yours to make sure it can't go anywhere, and they have to call that.
Both were holding, so. But the referee made the call. He thought it was more defense, so he made his call. That we got to live with it.
So we'll see what happens. This is out of the Wildcat here. Marco Danford, he's going to take it himself, and that's the best play they've had on the ground so far for about 5 yards. They're going to Wildcat a lot when they're looking at that for Danford to run, putting Gray on the outside. It seems to be an obvious call when you say, well, Danford's in there. You have to assume he's going to throw sometime in there, don't they?
Oh, he's got to throw it sooner or later.
They'll go back to Gray in this case. Gray and Johnson. Kyle Johnson, as we said, just a freshman. Put up 162, though, last week against Vidalia. Really starting to learn the position. Gray's got him on a quick turnaround. That's Danford. Danford's going to break one tackle, but then be pulled down at about the 5-yard line. Good tackle by Richardson among a couple other guys there. I'm impressed with what Danford can do running and catching the ball so far.
Oh, I mean, he's a jack of all trades. I mean, 60 carries, 432 yards, 6 touchdowns, 16 receptions, 330 yards, 4 touchdowns. He can do it both running and catching.
You always like a day like this against Vidalia. 9 for 17, 3 touchdowns against Vidalia. So clearly they knew what they were doing, but also had 11 catches for 114 against Thompson. So knows what he's doing on both sides of the ball, and this is exactly what Coach Roberts dialed up. A long, solid drive for his team. Danford again in the Wildcat. He's going to go to the outside, and he's got the corner, and he's got to score. So Swainsboro comes right back on the Christian team and says, we need to put some points on the board and know how to make this comeback.
Well, that's what they need to do to come out of the locker room when you're down 21-7. You get the ball to start the second half. That's why most coaches defer to the second half.
And a good crowd from Swainsboro, very happy on that side. Playing roll that tiger, hold that tiger, right?
Yep.
Hold that tiger. So the Tigers are holding on right now to just within 7. Watch Danford get to the outside. Boy, good quicks there.
Yep.
An excellent job, too. Didn't try to take it inside, knew when he needed to bounce it out, and did exactly what he needed for his team. Matias Castillo, and that kick is no good.
That's big right there.
So 21-13 now instead. Just never really got it off the ground there. Castillo going into that was 21 of 25 on PATs. So now he missed the second one of 2 so far in this game. Kicking is one of those arts that high school teams are starting to get better, but there's still some teams who struggle a little bit and don't have the soccer kids or whoever it may be.
Yeah, well, that's what you need to do. You need to try and find those soccer kids to come out and do it for you.
But you watch it, even if you watch game day on Saturday and watch these kids with one kick from 33 yards, and some of them will hammer it and other kids will kick it right into the crowd. So, all right, so Swainsboro did what they need to. Savannah Christian, I assume you would say, keep going and do what you did in the first half?
There's no reason to change anything. I mean, if it's not broken, you don't need to change it.
I mean, the passing game has definitively worked for them, and it's been a lot of play action. It's been a lot of fake by Thomas. You said overly aggressive defense the entire time so far for Swainsboro because they want to make those plays on the running game. And there's the kick out to the 15, the 16-yard line. There's Hughes. Weston Hughes will get a big chunk and then drag a tackler with him all the way to the 40-yard line for Weston Hughes, and that's where Savannah Christian will start their next drive.
Good field position. We're going to go punch for punch, it looks like right now.
Thomas again, 8 for 11, 120 yards and a touchdown so far. Also has a few yards on the ground. Hudspeth the main man for them. 2 touchdowns along with 88 yards. The big one was that 50-yarder on the first play of the ball game.
All right, we got an update for you. 13 for Statesboro, 3 for South Effingham.
Statesboro playing in there. They're trying to get that region title. Last year they weren't sure what they had. This year they suddenly are back in play, and that could be a good one. So Blaze Thomas is your quarterback. He's got the pistol. He's going to fake the handoff and take it himself, and he's got a lot of room. And that's big first down, 14-yard gain, picked up by Jaden Wilcher, who makes the tackle. Thomas with an excellent run.
Triple option right there. Dive, keep it, or give it to the guy in motion.
I would think you key on Thomas as much as you can because he is the best of the 3 runners.
Yes, he is.
They haven't done any jet sweeps or anything yet, Carl. I have a feeling that's got to be in that repertoire right now because we haven't seen it, and you said it's an overly aggressive defense. There's the, nope, option again. Thomas again for big yardage. 15 more almost for Thomas on that one.
Not broke.
There is a flag, however.
We got a holding.
That's going to be a holding
flipped
on.
him.
Coach is not very happy with that on the Raider sideline. Michael Street telling him otherwise.
He says he flipped him. Let's see.
Offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, replay first down.
Couldn't see it in that
Couldn't
box.
see it. I think it was interior line up at the top when they first did it. Looks like it could have been a pancake, but I guess they're saying he moved him somehow.
Against the offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, replay first down.
There's Marco Danford, who just scored the touchdown. It's a clean uniform. I like the gold helmet, the black. Always looks good. Very traditional look.
Good old Mizzou.
It is. It's like a Mizzou. You're absolutely right. Old school Mizzou, though.
Yes.
So there's Thomas. He's going to hand it off this time. Hudspeth not going to get anything. In fact, may get, well, give him 2 after the push forward. It is interesting, Carl. You've been talking about it. Both sides are very focused on the running game, and it has enabled that passing game to really be active. All right, 21-13, Savannah Christian in the black over Swainsboro. 2nd and 15 now for the Raiders. Andrew Davis here with Coach Carl Damasi. 7:50 left in the 3rd quarter. Christian had a holding penalty, which pushed them back on this drive. Blaze Thomas, your quarterback, he's going to go up top. He's going to go deep. Thinks he's got his man, and it hits him in the hands and dropped. Is there a flag?
Yes,
there will
is.
be a flag. I think a stutter step on there. The ball was not thrown as far as maybe Hughes thought it would be, and probably going to get defensive pass interference on that. As the student section says simply, you can't do that. Throwing it up top. You see Thomas right there. Carl, what do you think? Yeah, he definitely hooked him.
And he still had a chance to catch it for the touchdown.
Probably should have caught it, but after all the contact
15
out
yards
there.
from the previous spot. Enough yardage for a first down.
So they trade penalties. This time, Savannah Christian benefits with a 15-yarder and a first down. Thomas threw a nice deep ball. They think they've got something deep. They've gone deep to Hughes a couple times. Got one that was a little bit questionable, but still counted, which is all that matters. And then this one here got the penalty. Looking at scores to Hilton Head Island, looks like they're going to wrap up their region as well. 43-7, first time since 2011 for them. There's the throw by Thomas up top. Yeldell
nice catch
with an excellent catch, and that's going to be down at the 1-yard line. Cam Yeldell.
Yeah, they had to go to him. They need another wide receiver. First quarter of the first game, they lost 2 defensive backs.
They got something deep, so Thomas steps up here a little bit on the run, still able to get a lot on that ball.
Puts enough air underneath it.
And Yeldell would come down and put it down at the 1. So Savannah Christian trying to answer that touchdown by the Tigers early. 7 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. It's a back and forth offensive show.
It's where the offensive linemen have to stay on helmet, man on man.
Ivan Richardson in the backfield as one of the men, but the second man in is going to take this. Christian says they've got a touchdown. Looks like he's over the line. And it is a touchdown for Savannah Christian. The fullback goes through on that one, or the fullback in that set. Take a look here.
Hudspeth again.
It is Hudspeth for his third touchdown of the day. He was kind of the fullback. They were in a split back formation. So,
right. Well, not bad on senior night, eh?
3 touchdowns, not a bad day so far.
All right, 58.
Unsportsmanlike conduct there on Savannah Christian. Interesting, do you take this on the kick or do you take it on the kickoff? You are down 8. You were down 8. You're going to be down 15. Do you want to get the 1 point back or do you think you're better off otherwise?
I would take it on the kickoff. Because you're going to, you know.
Well, especially with the kickoff returns.
Yes.
I agree with that. Carl, big senior night. Couple of the old guys back in here. We understand that Elijah Griffin is up in the stands rooting on his old team.
Yeah.
Supporting the Raiders.
Georgia's got the bye.
So always good to see them come back and still support their teams. Elijah getting a little bit of time for Georgia. Not as much as he probably would like, but just a freshman, you know he'll be in there, and he's in the weight room a lot right now, too.
Hey, just seeing him on the field this quick is pretty impressive.
Well, it's interesting how big he's gotten in the couple years we've been covering, too. Probably started as more of a linebacker, then became a defensive end, and now he's probably D-tackle, D-end somewhere in that range, and you know they're going to get big in Kirby's system. Kick, in this case, is up, and it is good for Savannah Christian. Carson Leak. All right, so Savannah Christian back up 2 scores. Swainsboro, though, they love the comeback, and they got a chance to do it one more time. We'll see what they can do back on offense when we come back right here on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week. The WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week brought to you by Chicken Salad Chick. Deliciously fresh in Bluffton, Savannah, Pooler, and Statesboro. Made from scratch, served from the heart. And so far, heart and soul, the fans right here at Savannah Christian, they're very happy with the way this looks. Right now, a 28-13 lead over Swainsboro. But we have detailed on multiple occasions, 2 scores is not too much for the Swainsboro team, who's come back from that on multiple times during this season. And Coach Scott Roberts really believes his guys have thrived in that position.
They still have confidence, still a lot of time left.
And the kickoff is big. As we've talked about, again, we've told you, a lot of freshmen, a lot of kids out there. I am looking, though, more of those starters or regular people out there on that kickoff team. We'll see what happens. Cut back to the 40, to the 45, to the 46. Afton Hudspeth, not all freshmen anymore. Those starters, people are playing both ways. It's a little cooler. You're still going to be tired, but maybe not as tired as you would be in the heat. And I have a feeling Baker Woodward learned from that fellowship game, and he's not going to let kickoff returns beat him.
No, I don't think so. And that time was a perfect pooch kick right to somebody that's not one of their best return specialists.
Now, interesting there, I guess you'd have to boom it to get it to the 35, like
right.
we talked about, because 35 in that case would have been great.
Right.
After the 15-yard penalty that went against him. So here we are, Josh Gray, the sophomore quarterback, Swainsboro so far rushing game, not really
Not
much
there.
rushing yards so far. Not a lot of carries, not a lot of yards. Like to figure that out. You know, where are they with that? Because this is a rushing team who's put up a ton of it, 1,800 rushing yards so far this year. Their biggest problem has maybe been fumbles in the past. Right now, only 14 rushes for 43 yards. You'd said that even to be down 15 like they are is pretty impressive. There's Josh Gray, the quarterback, looking for someone. He actually had a different man and was not able to see Peyton Mason, who had broken free on the outside. So that's maybe their only bugaboo, and we haven't seen it so far today. 12 fumbles by this team. But really, when you're not running the ball that much and been in the open like you haven't even had a chance to get fumbled.
I mean, they've been averaging, what, over 200 yards a game?
Exactly. 15 yards a pass, too, when they've done it previously. 23 touchdowns on the year. And they're going to go to a Wildcat again. Marco Danford, who scored a touchdown just a few moments ago.
2nd and 10 for the Tigers.
We'll see what difference they make. Savannah Christian crowding the line now. Danford's going to hand it off to Johnson. Johnson gets 2-3 yards. There's a flag. It's in the area of a false start. Michael Street, and one of the best mustaches in the business, too.
And he's had it forever.
Al, 54, White with a holding. It'll be 10 yards from the previous
That
spot.
hurts.
We play 2nd down, or we can have.
So they're questioning what Baker Woodward wants to do. That's Christian Tarver, their big tackle. Coach Roberts had nothing but amazing things to say about Christian Tarver, both on offense and defense. One of those guys that's sort of a glue guy to your team, I think, along with being incredibly talented.
He's a player. He's a ball player. I mean, he's going both ways.
Okay, so now behind the sticks, 2nd and 20 for the Swainsboro Tigers. Josh Gray, the sophomore quarterback. See what he can put together for this team. No rush, almost picked off. Good chase down on the outside. John Gross, the linebacker, nearly caught him. Coaching staff awful excited. They sniffed that one out early.
There's an unsung hero right there, Mr. Gross. That kid can go north, south, east, and west. He's all over the field on defense.
Senior started for the last 3 years.
3 years.
Had 60 tackles last year. Coach said, there's our little decal we were talking about at the 75 team right there. You saw that black logo there. That's the old school 75 logo when they were in the SEAIS for the championship. They're hoping to bring another one home this year.
3rd and 20. Big play right here for the Tigers.
And another false start potentially. They are pushing them back 5 more. So Swainsboro not helping themselves right now.
White, 5 yards, replay 3rd
The only
down.
thing that seems to have worked are those slant patterns. They've gotten a couple of those for big yardage.
And besides having one of the most distinctive logos in Georgia in high school football, the skull and crossbones, you know how they got their name? And remember, we can't say Red Raiders because
It's not Red Raiders.
It's not Raiders. That's Texas
Just
Tech.
Raiders.
Right. You know how they got their name?
30-yard line.
Summer camp. They're out of summer camp staying in the old gym. The football players raided the refrigerator.
Oh.
They were staying overnight.
It's a pretty good story.
And the coach called them a bunch of Raiders, and that's how they got
That's
their
how they
nickname.
stuck, huh? All right. Story time is over. Nothing doing there. The pass to the outside. Davion Williams was the attempted receiver. Nothing doing. That actually probably served them well, but now there's a flag.
There's a flag.
We'll see what this flag is. Looks like it's against Swainsboro again. You assume Baker Woodward will decline this, if so.
Personal foul. Al, he grabbed him in the.
He grabbed him someplace. We're not sure where. We might not want to know where. But that's 15 more against Swainsboro if they want to push him back. You assume Baker Woodward will decline this. I believe that's a head slap is what they would like to call that.
That's a big head slap.
That's an old Deacon Jones head slap is what that is from the 70s. So kids, go look it up. Ask your grandparents about Deacon Jones head slap on that one. You'll find out what it is.
I got to give you, this is my last game tonight. WSAV video crew, is that what you call them?
Yes.
They're always on the spot.
Always right there.
Do
Got
a
a great
job.
shot. Watch him slap it upside the head,
Right.
looking to come forward.
They do it week in and week out.
Our team has done a great job. We get better and better every day, every week with our videography and with the talent in the booth and everywhere else.
Hey,
and
you got a legend
and in
with
the
it.
truck.
You got a legend on the camera, Ken Slats.
Ken Slats, I know. Seen him a couple times.
Just a couple.
Good kick here. That'll get it to the 44, 45-yard line. So you look at the sticks and you think, well, he only kicked it 10 yards, but it was fourth and 34, so it didn't really matter there. So 6:05 here, CW Football Saturday. Got some great games coming up for you here. It's SMU and Wake Forest. SMU hasn't lost an ACC game yet in 2 years that they've been playing. Meanwhile, Toledo and Washington State a little bit later. But SMU Wake Forest is actually a pretty good game. SMU's in that position. They're sneaky because they don't have to play some of the big boys. Miami lost last week. Suddenly SMU back in play for another playoff berth. So that starts this week on the CW right here at noon, as well as Toledo and Washington State starting there. It is last week the Mustangs, of course, beat Clemson for everybody else. And Toledo going to Pac-12 country against Washington State. Meanwhile, up the middle, Blaze Thomas. He doesn't care about tomorrow. He's talking about tonight. And tonight, he's all the way down to the 5 and into the end zone for a score. He's a man who wants to play on Saturdays and proved it right there. What kind of talent he's got.
You know, he reminds me of a guy that runs the offense for the Buffalo Bills.
Josh Allen.
Hey, what about that little toss pass when the guy came up at him?
It was very good. A lot of guys are learning that from the Allens and the Mahomes.
Here's another one.
Thomas, boy, that was a giant hole he had to run through. But at the same point, great job at the end. Watch him here. Could have gone out of bounds instead. Moves forward, one little move, and all the way into the end zone. You know, yes, he's Josh Allen if Josh Allen was a little bit smaller. But an excellent job by Blaze Thomas.
And you knew he wasn't going to stop and step out of bounds.
No.
He was going to. It's senior night. I want that score.
3-year starter for Savannah Christian. You saw he led him to the state title game on the year. 66% passer. He's really just grown as a man and as a player since we've seen him. Good job for him. Good night so far on senior night. Swainsboro likes to come back. They're not sure how much they like this kind of score in front of them, but they do have the offensive weaponry to do more.
Still got a lot of time left.
It's only the third quarter, which is really dangerous if you're Savannah Christian. You get too confident with yourself. You've really played so well on offense, but you know this Swainsboro team has the ability to score quickly.
Now they got some good players, but I think Jabaya Smith is not ready to go both ways yet.
No, probably not. I mean, you look at their scores. Vidalia, they put up 45. Savannah Country Day, they 42. Toombs 20. Crisp County then 21, 44, and 44 against Metter too. So they've got some scoring ability, no question. But they're going to have to put a drive together early to get that confidence back and realize they're still in this ball game.
Well, I think, you know, you talked to the coach.
There's another short kick to the 30. Out to the 35 to the 36, 37-yard line for Shannon Benjamin.
I keep on forgetting his name. I do apologize to the Swainsboro fans. Head coach.
The head coach for Swainsboro, Scott Roberts.
Scott Roberts. That's right. It's the weather guy.
Yeah, it's our weather guy, indeed.
I mean, he seems such like a very classy guy when you interview him, watching that interview. And I think he's there for the kids. He left, came back. I mean, he's only had 2 losing seasons as the head coach over there. So I don't think he's going to let these kids get down. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen tonight. But like you said, you got a young group of specialists with a senior laden offensive, defensive lines. It's not over.
No, that's Danford again. Danford going to get popped and go down. Big stick on the outside there. Yeah, it's Jameer Jackson.
We're getting
a little chippy. Watch this stick. Jameer Jackson, who's been picked on a little bit on the outside, getting some of those frustrations out by knocking down Danford.
Yeah, well, 59 came in with a little chippy hit on the Savannah Christian player who wasn't looking.
And that seems to be where that flag came down. Then a little bit extracurricular after that as well.
You don't need anybody thrown out.
See
You got a
Jarrell
big game
Howell
next week.
going to the sidelines talking to coaches. They're discussing this. Interesting to see if it's one way or both ways. Do you just offset maybe and let it go from there? Maybe the best way to go with this.
We got a personal foul against the offense. Personal foul against the defense or offense. Penalties offset. Second down.
That's probably the best way to do it. Just no harm, no foul. Let everybody go and move on from there. And just tell them to quiet down. There's no need for any of this.
But I think the sense of being behind so much, the white jerseys are getting a little chippy now. And, you know, you got to keep your head on a swivel if you're Savannah Christian.
And the other thing is Savannah Christian's been beat up by a couple teams in their time. So for them to be up big and to do what they're doing, you know, they're going to chirp a little bit back, too, because this means a lot to them. It's senior night. It's a home game. It's everything they're going into another big one next week. So both sides have a lot to play for and a lot of emotion in this one.
But neither team needs an injury. That's the key.
That's absolutely true.
Jordan Dillon on the tackle.
Dillon playing some defense there.
Yeah. This Davion Williams is your running back. Good gain for him. Dillon, I do not want to get tackled by Jordan Dillon. I can tell you right now, watching him land on Williams that way, not fun.
Gray coming back into the ball game.
See what happens here again. Josh Gray doing his part as a sophomore quarterback, still really learning the position. Came from Jenkins County with his dad, who's the principal, and has turned into a pretty good quarterback. He was actually the third quarterback in the first game of the year and was able to take him to a winning drive in the fourth quarter and has kept the job ever since. But this time he's going to throw a pick right over the middle. Huge catch. Christian Beard, the linebacker, is going to come up with the INT, and Savannah Christian back in business. Oh, look at the coach getting up on that one, too. Very excited for Christian Company.
Yeah, but it cost him an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty right there when he threw the ball.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against the Raiders.
Well, and again, these are things that you know Coach Woodward can look at a tape and say, we can't do this moving on next week and into the playoffs.
No, I mean, you know, you got to keep your head.
You can't afford to do it. You can't afford to do it against a team like Swainsboro, but you definitely can against a Toombs County or anybody else who you're going to face as you continue on in this run.
I mean, the game's not over yet. The game is
Far
not over
from
yet.
over. I mean, we're at 4:28.
We've got unsportsmanlike conduct against the defense. That penalty's 15 yards from the end of the run. First down, Black.
The other thing, Carl, you can't get two unsportsmanlike or two personal fouls, can you? Do you then not play the next? Get thrown out. You can't play the next game. Right. So you know, coach is talking to Beard and some of these other guys who have picked up a couple personal fouls now, going, you better not keep doing this.
We'll have it first and 10 and 41-36.
And it's just emotion. They're kids. This is what happens. He threw the ball up in the air after he got done, and it's one of the most emotional moments.
Doesn't happen in high school football.
All right, so Christian's been dominant on offense so far. They are going to move 5 yards back on this one. Blaze Thomas with an enormous touchdown run the last time. Has done it with his arm, has done it with his legs. Ethan Hudspeth also with a couple touchdowns for him. 3 touchdowns for him. Thomas has run one in himself. The other one pass. So the two seniors feeling their oats out here and making their presence known on senior night in Pooler. There's Blaze Thomas, handed off to Hudspeth, who's not going anyplace fast. Somebody lost a helmet on that one, too.
Big number 50, Aiden Foskey.
Aiden Foskey's been on a couple of those plays.
And Hudspeth's getting up slow.
Yeah, and that's not what they need. As you said, now you're in a position of...
now it's right in the head.
It was shoulder to shoulder,
it was
head
shoulder.
to head.
I mean, he caught it right, he caught the shoulder. I'm not talking about, helmet to helmet.
No, it was a high hit, but it was just a football play is what it was. You're absolutely right, though. Landon Tyson now in the game. No, Hudspeth stayed in the game. I was thinking they might take him out for a play or two.
I mean, he took a shot.
He did. 4 minutes clock running here in the third. Savannah Christian, Blaze Thomas again looking deep. Again, this time overthrowing his man, Weston Hughes. The only thing I'd say so far as we're in the third quarter is Yeldell has gotten a couple good catches, but it is a lot of Weston Hughes, and it's a lot of leaning towards his side of the field the field is tilted his way.
Yes.
And that becomes the only danger if you're looking at that from a defensive coach from another team would be, well, if we bracket him, can he go somewhere else with it?
It's good point. Andrew Davis getting into the coaching scheme of things.
I've learned something from you over all these years. So,
hey, you had a good one. You're going to be with him next week too, John Mooring. That's
dangerous pass right there. Yeah. It's caught, but not for much. In fact, probably better off he just was able to hold on. Thankfully, Thomas would want that one back very quickly.
Yeah, too
That's
much.
Hughes. Nothing doing there.
Trying to set up a screen, it looks like.
4th down and about 15, so Swainsboro will get the ball back on the punt.
Still got the whole 4th quarter to go.
A lot of time, more than that, 3:20 still. Back deep will be Jaden Wilcher. The punter's Carson Leak. Leak almost got it again. Christian Tarver is right there on it. He's got 3 block punts on the year, was trying to make it 4. Just missed on that one and ended up with a pretty short punt and some very good field position for the Tigers. All right, so you're a running team from Swainsboro. You haven't been able to run up the middle at all so far. What's the call? Your quarterback is not the best passer because you're not having to use him this way all year long. What can you do, or what's the call here?
You're down 3 scores at least. And, you still got you still got 2 minutes and 47 seconds and you get the whole 4th quarter. I think you just try and establish some sort of run game so that defense doesn't just sit back on the pass. That's what I would do.
You haven't used wide receivers in any of these sweeps or things because you haven't had the opportunity to because the run defense has been so good from the Raiders. And you're right. Every now and then I slip in Red Raiders because I always think of that from the Texas Tech and from them with the red helmets on top. But got the black jerseys on today.
I learned one year doing Friday Night Football on the radio, and I said Red Raiders, and got a couple of texts saying it's not the Red Raiders.
It's like I have also learned that Southeast Bullock is never Bullock, apparently. It is right. Southeast or Southeast Bullock. A couple people said that when we had them a couple times ago. You learn something new every day when you don't do them all the time. Savannah Christian, though, one of our favorites to go on for everybody here. Always good to see Baker Woodward and a big crowd for this senior night.
I haven't seen the parking lot packed like this since the playoff game.
Here's Danford. He's going to keep it himself and nothing doing again up the middle. They've tried that Wildcat a few times, and Danford really hasn't been able to get any yardage.
John Gross on another tackle.
Not the biggest guy in the world, but fills the hole very nicely.
That's what he's got to do. Just fill that gap, fill that hole.
And boy, did it shot that gap very well too, Carl.
Yep.
You like to see that out of your linebackers when you can go downhill like that.
And Richardson was right there behind him.
And that's a function also probably of Danford not throwing the ball correct, so he's able to charge forward and not be afraid of the pass.
Right.
This is the quick out, and Danford's going to drop that, hit him in the hands. Nothing doing on that. So Josh Gray doesn't get any help there. A pretty good throw. Trying to get some yardage, get in front of the sticks a little bit and get a little confidence. I mean, confidence breeds confidence, doesn't it, Carl? If you get a couple plays at work.
Small steps at a time. Like I told you, you had 2:47 to go in this quarter. Trying to establish some. I mean, how many first downs does Swainsboro have in the game?
Taj, our stat guy, is going to get right there on it for us.
It's not
because the 2 touchdowns came off big plays before they got there down to the down inside the goal line. So
3rd and 10.
Here's Josh Gray. Gray's going to throw it up top for his receiver. He's got Danford, and it hits Danford in the hands, and he dropped it. The big play that Swainsboro needed was right there in his hands.
Yep.
Boy, what a good throw from Gray, and really had him.
7 first downs for the Tigers tonight.
That would have been 8. Unfortunately, nothing happened, and they're going to be forced to punt one more time, it appears.
Yeah, it's too early to go for it. I know for me, if I was the head coach.
They are setting up for a punt. Yeah, 2:10 left in the 3rd. You just stopped them on a 4-down play. You're going to go ahead and try to do that again, get the ball back. You're still within range.
Tell you,
Tobias Smith can kick the ball for a big man. Does pretty well. That one went out of bounds. Probably not going to get the distance he hoped on that, but
That punt goes out of bounds.
Sunday Night Football, the Packers and the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers back against his old team on this one. You can't ask for more than this. An underdog to the Packers team, but the Steelers with that legendary representation out here. Of course, he knew the game might be coming 5 years ago. He's a four-time MVP, standing on the opposite side from the team that he actually took to the Super Bowl out there. Pittsburgh's 4-2, hosting Green Bay, who's 4-1. Definitely a good reason to start. Watching on that one, Football Night of America at 7. The game, of course, at 8. And then, yes, you want to stay up for News 3 with Kelly Fedko and Jeff Vorick and Colby Zach. We've got a great night of TV for everybody out there Sunday night, right here on WSAV.
I think a little twist would have been if it would have been in Green Bay at Lambeau Field. That would have been exciting.
Well, as a Steelers guy, I'm happy to see it right where it is. So
in the steel
we don't need
curtain.
any more challenges than we've got already.
The Steel City with the steel curtain.
There's Thomas, who's going to run it himself again. He's had a big night running. He's going to break a couple tackles there. Again, couple good jukes by Thomas. Get him 6, maybe 7 yards.
Jordan Dillon just got himself another pancake. He's just mowing down these defensive linemen for Swainsboro.
He loves breakfast, that's for sure. Watch
right
him,
there.
didn't take him all the way down.
I thought he took him down.
Now,
He just pushed him down.
did hit somebody after the fact pretty good,
That's
though,
why
too.
you got the great replay crew right here. These guys are on top of it.
The second hit was a little nasty, so.
Yeah, he was kind of lightweight.
You like an offensive line with a nasty streak, though, don't you, Carl?
That's how I played football. I was a hog.
There you go.
I had every trick in the book to block somebody without getting caught, too.
Without getting caught is the key. Plus, it's hard when you're in leather helmets like you were, too,
Yes,
Carl.
I was.
So
Yes, I was.
there's a run up the middle. Gain of maybe 1. Good stop by the Swainsboro defense.
You know, they honored the class of 75 out here, the 75 football team, which would have been the 76 season. And you laugh. I had a plastic, helmet, okay, made out of plastic, and on top of the helmet, I had a big foam pad. I mean, that's how they used to make them back in the day. But now what are they doing? They're putting more foam on it.
More foam on it. Landon Tyson there with that run.
But didn't help. I took some shots. I know I have a couple loose marbles up top. So.
No, not you, Carl. I don't believe any of that. All right, so 34 seconds left here in the third quarter. In a third quarter that has seen Savannah Christian push their lead by 1 touchdown. There's the fake handoff, and Thomas will go up the middle, and he will push forward for, yes, he will get a first down. So it'll be 1st and 10 when we start the fourth quarter. Blaze Thomas showing a lot of guts, a lot of heart, and some strength in those legs, too, to make another first down for Savannah Christian. And it will be 1st and 10 when the clock starts. You assume they will take this directly to the end of the quarter. So Scott Roberts on the other side for Swainsboro's got his hands full so far, trying to find some plays that'll work and hopefully a couple defensive stops that will allow his offense to get back on the field and get back in motion in whatever form they can. This one will tick all the way down to the fourth quarter. And Carl, I still think we have something here. If Swainsboro can get another big play or two, they've got to get a stop first. So we'll be counting on that defense to make a stop right here as we start the fourth quarter. It'll be first down for Savannah Christian. Can Swainsboro pull a magic rabbit out of their hat? We'll find out if the Tigers still have fight next on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week. The WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week brought to you by O.C. Welch Ford Lincoln. Find the certified pre-owned car or truck you're looking for online at GoCOCFord.com. So Savannah Christian trying to salt this one away, trying to get another drive. Blaze Thomas, though, going to go deep. He's got his man, Weston Hughes, and Weston Hughes will dive and catch it for a big, big play.
That hurts. That hurts right there. What a catch. What a catch.
Weston Hughes, another guy who started for years. These two have just played catch since they were like in 5th grade. It's incredible to see the rapport between a quarterback and a wide receiver like this. And take a good look at this.
And to sell out like that is unbelievable.
Really nice catch by Hughes.
He's used to doing that in baseball.
Why not? You can slide, you can go dive in the outfield, whatever it takes. Weston Hughes says, don't forget about me in that senior triumvirate of players out there. He's had a very nice day. No scores yet. We'll see if he gets another one, or they're going to hand it to Hudspeth instead. And Hudspeth will get to the 5-yard line, and that's all. Let's send it down to Hank Tatum, who's right next to the huddle just a few minutes ago. What's going on in the Savannah Christian side of things?
Well, guys, I talked to head coach Baker Woodward, right? Excuse me, I listened to what he had to say to his team, and the message was very clear. They've got to finish this game, but he started to look ahead to next week, and he said you can't do anything stupid, because if you do, you're going to miss the first half of one of our biggest games of the year. So he's already looking to that Toombs County game that will be for the region if they close out the win, make sure that all of his players are available and none of them miss the first half.
What a great point, Hank, and good listen on that one, because you know Coach doesn't want to see anybody missing out there right in the middle of that huddle to get all their information for us. Here's Blaze Thomas right in the middle of the defense, too. Nothing doing, down to the 5. So Swainsboro's already had one goal line stand. This one probably means even more if they can, because then they can just try to get some points back on the board.
Yeah, but all Savannah Christian has to do is come away with a field goal here, and it's going to be tougher for them.
Well, I think anything's tough for them right now, the way Savannah Christian's defense is played, and putting them really behind the sticks, because this is a running team who has had the ability to go ahead and get some of the yards, you know, that they need to go just move the ball before they get there, but they're not a passing team. And this is a team maybe in a year or 2 years, as Gray grows up, they will be more of a passing team.
Assuming he was covered up.
I mean, I think you look at it, is this Swainsboro team comparable in some ways to that Savannah Christian team? Of course, that team made the state finals, so they may be a little bit more talented, but with what Gray's got as a sophomore quarterback, we're seeing what Thomas does now, and Swainsboro's got a couple guys behind him who could drive this forward.
Just got to replace the offensive lineman. That's going to be a big thing for them.
There's Thomas up top, Yeldell. Yeah.
Little push off right there.
Little push, but they didn't call it either way. No, you're absolutely right. They didn't call it the first time. They didn't call it that time. There's Cam Yeldell doing a little dance, getting a little fun in that one. The Raiders doing some damage on offense. Blaze Thomas with his second touchdown pass. Yeldell with his first touchdown catch of the day. A statement being made by the Raiders. You know, they're sending tape right now down to Toombs County for next week, trying to make sure that this Toombs County team sees what they can do. The kick is up and is good by Carson Leak, who's perfect on the night so far. 42-13, Savannah Christian now with the big lead over Swainsboro. So what do we look at here, Savannah Christian-wise? You said they've been beat up, they've been injured, but they really are proving the weapons they have and the explosiveness that they do have that Swainsboro was worried about walking into the game.
It's a situation where the coaching staff, Baker Woodward and his assistant coaches, have put the pieces in the right place to get this win tonight, to get the win last week after those 3 tough losses, but they're still dealing with injuries, and you know, you still got one more big game to go and then playoffs. Hopefully Some of those other injuries will come back. We know 2 definitely are. But I got to give a lot of credit to this coaching staff, because you could have packed it in when you lost a lot of those key players. But they've had, like Baker told you in your interview, a lot of these younger guys step up, and the coaches are teaching them. The coaches are helping them grow.
But we forget, high school coaching is huge. To have the right guys who can get you ready, especially as a young player, or get you past this, oh, woe is me, this person's injured, but
Right.
instead to turn it around and say, no, this is your opportunity to do something.
But when you have a winning program, when the culture is all about winning, it just carries over from one player to another, from one team to another, 1 year to another, and that's what you get over here at Savannah Christian.
Very short kick, just fallen on there by Jaden Wilcher. But that's where this coaching staff comes in. We talked about Brooking at the beginning. Keith Brooking is, an NFL player for a dozen years or more. He's a Georgia high school, now soon to be Hall of Famer.
Yep.
That he's a college star, and he's teaching 3 linebackers who have talent, but he's teaching them some of those skills that he learned to get to this point, and also helping everywhere else just with his presence.
Yeah, and if you don't know about Coach Brooking, you got to read the Savannah Morning News article that Dennis Knight did about him. He's such a humble guy. I mean, we talk about his high school and his college. He had over 1,400 tackles in pro football.
Well, and I have to say, too, as Swainsboro gets the ball here, it's the fake. Good toss. Gray. Excellent play inside Savannah Christian territory to Peyton Mason, the wide receiver. Tried to get him earlier and couldn't quite, so this is a big play for Swainsboro.
Great play. Receiver came behind the linebackers from the other side.
And Coach Roberts is still in that position to look at it and go, okay, so we'll be that 3 seed in this region now, is what this is setting up to be. But I think they're a very dangerous 3 seed. They're going to go someplace with maybe an off-book kind of 2 seed.
But they're going to be a 3 seed here, but we don't know where they're going to fit in the power rankings.
Right.
So that's,
and their only 2 losses are 2 really good teams.
Right. So
there's the pump and go, and I think he overthrew him. Yeah. And that's going to be a pick for Hughes. Hughes,
he's still going. Just get down.
So, Carl, you said maybe senior day doesn't mean that much. Well, Weston Hughes has about 90 yards receiving. Athen Hudspeth has 2 touchdowns and close to 100 yards rushing. And Blaze Thomas has 2 touchdowns for the air and 1 on the ground.
And how much?
And
what are his passing and
those
rushing
are
totals?
your 3 seniors. Those are your 3 seniors that are the keys to everything that they're doing. So, it may not mean that much in some form, and let's also give credit. Maddox Robertson's out there as a senior. Kadorian Benjamin for Swainsboro. I mean, a couple seniors on their side, too. But really, Jarrell Howell and Davian Melton are the 2 linemen who are also seniors, and they've obviously had a very good game to open the holes for the guys that they've had.
Yeah, I mean, they just got to be able to replace them. That's the key.
Well, they hope to not have to replace them this year. That's really the key for them on the Savannah Christian
As of
side.
right now, before the game started, Swainsboro was #1 in the what do we call them again?
In the single A division.
PSR rankings, okay? In A division.
There's Landon Tyson, who's got open ran. All the way down to the 30, to the 20, to the 18-yard line. Landon Tyson with a huge run. He was averaging about 5 yards a carry. That number will go up. 154 yards and a touchdown on the day. That 3rd guy, and he's going to be an important character for the rest of the season because they're going to have to get him involved.
Well, he's got to be another running back in the backfield. And he was slated to be, from what I understand, 1 or 2 of the top running backs on his team.
And he hasn't really gotten the carries. They've gone with Hudspeth more. We've seen Ivan Richardson as well. So interesting to see how much they will run Landon Tyson here and then next week and beyond, because as we've been detailing throughout this game, Wesley Dinkins, their freshman running back, appears to be out for the season according to Coach Woodward. So they're going to need to help in that backfield. There's the handoff. Backups in the ball game, by the way. Matthew Dillon, the freshman quarterback, is the one handing that one off. So Swainsboro was 1 walking into this, correct, is what you were just saying, Carl, as you go back to that for a moment. So they're going to have a very high seed.
Yeah, they're going to be very
what's
high.
going on. Where is Toombs in that list, too, then? If they're 1, where does Toombs fit?
Toombs is number 9.
It may be Scott Roberts in the coach or weatherman in the hair there. So
and it's
number
called,
9.
and I do apologize to the people that are watching at home. It's not the power ranking formula. It's called the postseason rankings.
Postseason rankings.
It's based on winning percentage, your opponent's winning percentage, and then they put it together, and that's how you come up with your postseason ranking.
There's Tyson around the corner. He's going to get another 4, maybe 5 before he's slammed to the ground by multiple guys, including Tobias Smith.
I don't think this is going to hurt.
Well, they won't be one.
They won't be one anymore, but they're not going to fall down, I don't think, any lower than 3 or 4.
And this is their season. They're done. This is all they've got. So interesting to see how that works out because all the power rankings come into play and how this happens. So meanwhile, Savannah Christian will be in the private school bracket. They were listed, if I saw, as about a 6 seed with a bye in one bracket that I saw. This could move them up, but it also all depends on what happens with Toombs County, too, and what they do next week.
It's going to be interesting.
There's Tyson again, nothing doing, pulled down from behind. Aiden Foskey made sure he wasn't going anyplace fast. So if you're Savannah Christian, you want to win the region, obviously.
Right.
You want to get the win.
Right.
But with playoffs ahead, how much does that matter to you to win the region before playoffs? Now, admittedly, after this game, you're going to have 2 weeks of buys because of the way the bracket sets up on the private school side. Do you still play all out, care all out because the region means that much to you?
For how their season has gone with injuries, yes, you get 2 extra weeks to get these kids healed, get everybody healed. Yeah, I would definitely say so.
There's the field goal. It is up, and it is good. Good kick by Carson Leak. His 3rd field goal of the year. 5:43 left. Savannah Christian puts 3 more on the board. They lead 45-13 over Swainsboro right here on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week. The WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week brought to you by O.C. Welch Ford Lincoln. Check out our exciting lineup featuring aviators, Corsairs, Nautilus, and Navigator. Looking for a Lincoln? Go see OC today. And right now, Savannah Christian driving home their point that they could be the best team in this region and one of the best in the entire area, if not the state of Georgia, with right now a dominating 45-13 lead. I don't think anybody really thought, Carl, that this would happen the way it did because Swainsboro's running game they thought would be better against the Savannah Christian defense.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think it was going to be like this. I really didn't. But, you know, Savannah Christian came in with a great game plan. They shut down the run. Blaze Thomas hit his receivers, and that was the difference in the ball game. And we got to give a lot of credit, okay? I talked about Swainsboro's front 7 and how they were one of the best in the state. They're averaging only giving up less than 18 points. They've given up 45 tonight. Yeah. And the offensive line and the defensive line of Savannah Christian won the battle in the trenches.
Absolutely. Well, and I'll say, too, give a good play calling by Russell DeMasi over here, the offense coordinator. No, because he saw the deep threat as something that Blaze Thomas could hit and do very well, and he's gone to Weston Hughes as much as possible, and he's made a difference with this. So he saw something in the game tape that knew this would happen, and it's really been effective.
He knows his players, and that's what it comes down to. He knows his players. So
there's the handoff to Davion Williams.
Met by a host of Raiders.
So as you said now, no shenanigans and no injuries is what Savannah Christian and Swainsboro are hoping for. Both these teams are going to be in the playoffs. So let's go back to Swainsboro for a minute. I think they learned a lot from this game, that they have to try some different things, maybe mix up that play calls a little bit before they have to rely on Josh Gray to throw the whole time. What do you think Swainsboro's chances are as we move on to the playoffs?
I think they're very good. I think they're going to regroup. I think, you got a senior-led team, especially on the offensive and defensive lines. I think once these younger kids get a little more experience, I think one more game under their belt, they can make some waves in the playoffs.
As we see Davion Williams, who's breaking free for the biggest play on the ground of the day for Swainsboro, all the way to the 37-yard line. Hank Tatum's on the sidelines. Hank, what you got?
Well, guys, now we can start to look ahead to next week, where we're going to have a battle for the region between Toombs County and Savannah Christian. Toombs County is now 8-1 after their win over Vidalia tonight, and so they are undefeated in region, as will Savannah Christian be. So what better way to decide a region title than Halloween night between the Bulldogs and the Raiders next week?
No costumes needed there, just a lot of hitting and a lot of guys who want this too. Both those teams really want this game, I think. We talked about it before. Does it mean that much to a Savannah Christian team that's basically already locked up, already picked up a bye potentially in the playoffs? Toombs County wants this region, though. They're tired of thinking, oh, it's Savannah Christian's region. They believe they have the chance to go all the way as well, don't they, Carl?
Oh, yeah, they definitely do. I mean, Toombs County won the state championship last year.
Yep.
And who beat them in the region championship game? Savannah Christian.
Exactly.
So, there's going to be a lot of revenge. And we had that little birdie in our ear tell us it's such a great place to play. That is ideal. The ideal picture of what high school football is in the United States is going down to Toombs County and playing in the pit. Yeah, absolutely. Here one more time, another good run here by Davion Williams. Williams making some waves here late. Savannah Christian won 14-7 last year over Toombs in a very low-scoring affair. It was right here, too.
Yes, it was.
Did we call that game?
I think we called that game, in fact. And Toombs is a great place to play. It really is. It's one of those legendary high school areas that while the Pooler stadiums are amazing, but to be there and to be in these areas where high school football means everything.
The whole town shuts down.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about.
And that's what's fun. So there's Williams. No, it's going to be a pass. Pass from Gray. He's going to get it to the 2-yard line. Good catch by Javion Sherrod.
We got a new kid in there with a
oh, it was not. You're right. It was a lefty on that one.
I
apologize.
12. And I don't have a number 12. No, it's number 14. Yes, we do.
14 is Kaysen Edenfield. One of the 3 quarterbacks they used in that first game, in fact.
Yep.
So Edenfield getting a chance to throw a little bit.
Nice tight spiral.
Want to keep Gray healthy. You're keeping everybody out here and keeping him fresh. You don't know what happens, that you may need him, especially in this last game, because they're going to have 2 weeks of practice before their first playoff game, too.
Yep.
There's Edenfield who's going to hand it to Williams, and he's going to go in for 6. Davion Williams put some points on the board for Swainsboro, making a 45-19 game. So Swainsboro's got a bunch of sophomores, a bunch of juniors, a couple senior offensive linemen. I think they can make a wave for a game or two. They may be a year away, potentially, from really making a big push for a title. This Savannah Christian team, we can go into health everywhere we can, but looking at the team that's on the field right now, how far can they go in that private school bracket?
It's tough to tell. I mean, they played Fellowship Christian. They played for half a game. They were in a game. They took Blessed Trinity to overtime. They're a good football team, and if you get the right breaks, and I know I sound like a broken record, vinyl, like everybody used to call it, okay? I mean, if they get healthy, this team could make a lot of waves.
Well, I don't know if they're going to get any healthier than they are right now is the problem, because really everybody that's out seems to be out for good. So it'll be interesting to see what happens from there. But, I think you always walk in saying we can win a title. Now we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, title dreams on the line for Michigan and Michigan State on Big Ten Saturday night. It's Michigan's 5-1, but while it may be 5-1 and Michigan State just 3-3, it doesn't matter with these two. The Spartans playing to save their season and for bragging rights too. Michigan, though, losing to Michigan State just about as miserable as losing to Ohio State. And if Michigan fans haven't forgotten, there have been some costly defeats in East Lansing over the years. Regardless of the spread, Michigan will be ready for a dogfight. Nothing will be conceded. One of the two hardest hitting games of the season. Michigan State tomorrow night at 7 on WSAV. And of course, WSAV News 3 immediately after the game with Kaylee Fedko, Colby Zach, and Jeff Borick. There's the kickoff to Savannah Christian.
You gotta love rivalries. That's a great game tomorrow.
Always a good one. Those two never give up on each other. Well, Savannah Christian Fellowship is interesting since we were able to call that game, Carl. Here, those kickoff returns were just miserable. And that's what devastated any chance that they had of winning that game, and I think demoralized that team. So as long as they cut that down, I think they have the ability to play with the Fellowship. And you said, Blessed Trinity, they covered all the way to overtime.
I think they took 2 back for touchdowns, and I think 2 other ones set up easy scores.
It was, one inside the 10. I think one was for a touchdown. One got them inside like the 20.
Right.
I mean, it was just, no matter what they did, it was coming right downhill at them every time.
Short field.
So here's Christian running out the clock. Another quarterback in here for him. That's Kason Godby, the sophomore. So senior night, all the seniors are out. Now it's putting all the backups in, getting them a little bit of time. In the backfield with him is Gage Hart, the freshman, I believe. 2:38 left. An impressive win for Savannah Christian. Offensively, they've done what they needed to. Defensively, they stopped the run. That's all that mattered for against Swainsboro, is stop the run, make them one-dimensional, and they're not quite ready for that right now. So there's Caden Godby again, your quarterback.
No, we discussed that we knew that if they got behind the passing game, we didn't know what it was going to be like. Oof.
Swainsboro defense still playing. A big stick there. That was Ajante Floyd with a giant hit.
That's what you call bringing the wood.
I think you're looking at a situation where, while all the seniors had a great game, I would say Blaze Thomas is your player of the game. He had the 2 touchdown passes. He had a touchdown run. His numbers are very, very impressive. So as we're calculating that when we get those at the end of the game, we'll need that to see, along with what Hudspeth did, along with Weston Hughes as well, were the 3 guys for Savannah Christian that really dominated. And by the way, Cam Yeldell did a very nice job on the other side. And, you know, we talked about it earlier. You're going to need somebody on the opposite side from Weston Hughes.
I mean, so many kids stepped up tonight, and it's such a big game. You know, next week at Toombs County, I'd love to see that too.
So a quick run to the inside right there by Gage Hart, the freshman. So we'll have all the scores and all the numbers for you at the end of the game, as long as hopefully talk to Baker Woodward about what this one meant to him on the big win. So Savannah Christian's senior night going to be a happy night for the Raider fans.
They got where they want to go. They're going to play for a region championship.
It's what they wanted. So, but we'll give you all the offensive stats as well as the defensive stats to see exactly how tough it was to run for Swainsboro at the end of the game. I think it'll be interesting to see what Baker says about his team too. I mean, he's going to be very happy. You know, coaches are never completely happy though.
Oh, we get
no matter what,
we get to interview him?
The next play is always the one that's going to end the world for them. I love talking to the coaches, as you see the punt right there. But every coach says the other team is going to beat my team, no matter what happens. I've never heard a coach go, we're confident going into this game.
You don't want to give him bulletin board material. You don't want to say that because, you know, in today's world with the internet, with all the social media, you know it's going to get back to the other team really quick.
No matter what. So happy senior day for the Raiders. The cheerleaders are cheering them on for the rest of the way. Got warm enough, they even got to take off their jackets and be happy at the end. They're in their beautiful pink shirts today in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we thank them for that. Swainsboro will run out the last 16 seconds, and we will have all those stats for you, as well as the interview with Coach Baker. Woodward, excuse me. Woodford is a vodka or a bourbon or something. I think that's a different thing that might happen after the game, but not around here.
I couldn't tell you that.
I wouldn't tell you that either necessarily. So, but you're just going on there. Quarterback Swainsboro. Case in Edenfield. He's going to hand it off one more time to Davion Williams. Williams will get around the corner again for about 9 yards. Close to the first down, but not all the way, and the clock will run all the way down. So a happy day for Savannah Christian. The Raiders will walk away with a big win over Swainsboro, guarantee themselves at least a high seed in those private school playoffs, and next week they'll be playing for the region title against Toombs County. We'll be back with a whole lot more, including that interview with Baker Woodward when we come back right here on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week.
Welcome back. Now, more Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week. Here's the OC Welch Ford Lincoln postgame show.
Well, the handshake lines are done. Now it's time for a little talk, a little prayer, and a little happiness on senior night for Savannah Christian as the Raiders come away with a big 45-19 win over Swainsboro. Carl Damasi here with me. Carl, that was pretty much as dominant of an offensive performance as we've seen out of Savannah Christian against a very good Swainsboro team.
Yeah, it was all on 8 cylinders. Okay, did it make 8-cylinder cars anymore? But I mean, they were working. Everything was on track, and you know, a couple of little glitches in the defense. They only gave them 13 points, where I was worried about Swainsboro coming in, only giving up 18 points per game, and Savannah Christian rose to the occasion.
Yeah, and they did exactly that, and a lot of that was on the arms and legs of Blaze Thomas. And you could see it in the play of the game for us out here, too. Blaze Thomas did everything he needed to on this one. This was really one of those scramble plays you don't ever draw up, but it works perfectly. Shoots over the head of Thomas, so he runs around, and you think, well, maybe he's happy to get two. No, the push pass right to Cam Yeldell, and Yeldell will get all the way down the sidelines to about the 29-yard line. you don't draw it up that way, Coach.
Yeah, it's the Josh Allen pass. I mean, he's been watching Josh Allen. I mean, I know he's 5-6 inches shorter, but hey, Josh Allen does it all the time. These kids pick up everything.
And that's why you watch him, exactly, for something like this. Blaze Thomas does the great job on our play of the week and the WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week and Play of the Week, brought to you by O.C. Welch Ford Lincoln. Check out our exciting lineup featuring aviators, Corsairs, Nautiluses, and Navigators. Looking for a Lincoln? Go see OC today. We've got much more to come, including talking to Coach Baker Woodward about the big win right after this on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week.
Welcome back. Now, more of the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week postgame show and OC's top performer.
When we do have our top performer, top coach, everybody else here, Baker Woodward, Blaze Thomas, you guys, what a game offensively especially. I mean, what can you say about the way your team stood up and played on this night?
Yeah, we always want to start fast, and Coach Tomasi, I think he had a really good game plan against Swainsboro's defense. We were aware that number 9, which is one of the best linebackers we're going to face all year, he played really well tonight, and he hadn't played the last couple of weeks, but hats off to the offensive staff, hats off to Blaze Thomas, and our 7 seniors. Athen Hudspeth also had an excellent game at running back, but can't be more proud of our guys.
Well, you had to feel good when you break off a 50-yard run on play 1 when you're doing this too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I felt good about it. I just kept telling our guys, let's keep our foot on the gas. Swainsboro has pretty much come back in the second half against everybody. And so they're a second half team, but our guys handled it well. We have 7 seniors who are very mature. They've been in the mix for a long time, and so they know how to handle games like this.
Blaze, what was it like to be out there? Do you sort of get in the zone when you're doing all this? I mean, you see that play on first time for Athen, and then you start to get in that.
Yes, sir. I feel like once we you know, get together and play as a team. I think we all get in the rhythm, and the score is what it is. So that's what happened.
You looked really good out there running and throwing. How was the confidence, especially on the deep ball? You guys went deep a lot in this game.
Yes, sir. Well, these past 2 weeks, we had a bye week, and we were really focused. We came together, and I think we really focused this week, and we did good. So. Yeah.
Well, you were our performer of the game for what a great game that you had. So we're going to show you a couple of highlights. Maybe talk us through a little bit. You get to be the color commentator for this one for us. We start here. You got the throw up top right over to the guys in the middle. I mean, really all your wide receivers and tight end played well. Yeah. Talk me through what you did here on the run around, and you were able to get it out to everybody. Even Ivan got in the middle of this one,
Yes,
huh?
Sir. Yes, sir. Well, Coach DeMasi is really making me feel real comfortable in everything I do, and I feel like he doesn't get enough credit. And he pushed. So I know you don't want to hear that. I know you don't want to hear that, but I feel real comfortable with him being back there, taking care of me, and with me in control. I like where we're at right now.
So are you already have your mind set on where you're throwing the ball, or are you reading, or I mean, you had the perfect, I call them slant passes or skinny post. I mean, right behind the linebackers. Was that part of the plan all week long?
Well, I feel like we've been doing it all season, and it's been coming as just a rhythm, and I think we mastered it for sure.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
And Coach Woodward, for you guys, the play-action game was huge. Blades did it to perfection, but you really wanted to make sure, as Coach DeMasi was talking about, over-aggressive defense, and you made him pay for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach DeMasi had a great plan, and Blaze is the center of everything in the offense. If that guy comes up, he's going to pull it and throw it. It's RPO game. It's also option game. I'm just glad I don't have to call it defense against our offense because you got to defend option, you got to defend RPOs, you got to defend Athen Hudspeth, who's really doing well. He's always been known as a defensive player, but this year at running back, he's done a great job. And then Landon Tyson comes in there. Unfortunately, Wesley is hurt right now, and Landon comes in there, has some big runs, but it's going to be really hard to stop the Raiders.
Well, give your defense some credit, too. You stopped this running game, shut them down, only 43 yards rushing, I think, by the time they were finished. Incredible job by your team, at least until crunch time.
Yeah, Coach Boyle, the defensive coordinator, and Coach Brooking and Coach Brantley, our defensive line coach, we kind of picked up on some tendencies. They had a great plan against Swainsboro because I don't know if you noticed a couple games past, they got like 3 guys that could rush for 100 yards a night, and then they got put number 9 back there sometimes, and I'm afraid it would take about 3 or 4 of us to tackle him. But Coach Bull, hats off to him, Coach Brooking and Coach Brantley. Our defensive line played about as good as they could play tonight too, and we were really worried about their outside zone. And except for a couple pass plays, they probably didn't have many yards at all.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, okay, I know you were worried about it, injuries, okay, you had the 2 weeks off, and you and I are both head coaches. 2 things coaches hate is bye weeks and, of course, homecoming. So you had a big bye week, but you worked on a lot. How did you feel? Is this the best game that you guys have put together so far this year? And can you see yourself getting better going into next week and further?
Yeah, I was talking to our guys because we just didn't have it at the beginning of the year. Yeah, we had a couple guys that were out with season-ending injuries, but there was opportunities for other guys to step up. We just kind of talked about, hey, look, there's 2 of your teammates that hadn't been up. They're not going to take a snap again this year. So every time we take across that white line, you better make the most of it. And ever since that night, the Blessed Trinity, we've kind of been playing with a chip on our shoulder. And I said, that's how the Raiders do. Like, we got to play with a chip on our shoulder. And, I mean, Blaze plays that game that way. Like, Blaze plays, Athen plays that way, Gross plays that way. I know they scored down here, but they had a long pass, and John Gross ran from all the other side of the field.
We saw that. Track him down.
Yeah. And, if we get everybody on our team playing like that, which was tonight, and, you can't be more proud as a coach. Just them playing hard and with that chip on their shoulder. And so that's to answer your question. I think we've done that since Blessed Trinity, and I hope we continue to do it.
All right. We got the highlights here while we're talking about this, too. And what you guys did, I mean, Blaze, up top for you, the passing game, I mean, you and Weston have been throwing together since, what, 5? I mean, what was it? What's it like to have that confidence to throw to somebody like that?
We have a lot of chemistry together. We go on Sundays and throw together. And I feel real comfortable with him going up and getting the ball, and he feels real comfortable with me putting it in the right spot where he can catch it.
But I love that you sort of mixed it up with everybody, too. Your play-action game, how much have you worked on that over time? Obviously, you guys are such a good running team over time. Now you are such a control of it, though.
Well, it's just a day-by-day thing, and we mastered it.
Just like the radio show, we got to talk louder. Come on, you can
Yes,
do
sir.
it.
Yeah, that's like a day-by-day thing. We do it every single day, and I think practice makes perfect for us. So.
Where'd you come up with that little push move?
Yeah,
on
that was a special call that Coach Demasi put up for us. So.
I love it. And Coach, I mean, what does he mean to you? Obviously, you know, the numbers speak for themselves, but you said he's a leader on the field, and that's what you need, especially with all these guys sort of mixing in new roles too.
Yeah, Blaze has been great. He's a great leader on our team. He's the only quarterback around this area that's played quarterback in the Mercedes, and so he has a ton of experience. I mean, look at this. I mean, like that's amazing right there. I mean, he made plays happen tonight. We had a bad snap. He turns around, makes a huge play out of it. But I always say Blaze makes plays, but I think the big difference this year is I always told Blaze, like, he likes to make people laugh. Like, he is a clown. And I did that too. Like, I love a sense of humor. But I told him, I was like, clowns can't run huddles. And so this year, I think the biggest transition, he's become so serious, but he's still who he is. You know, he's still got a great sense of humor, and we like to cut up. But he's been more serious, and Coach Demasi's done a great job with letting him know where to go with the football. So,
now, does he surprise you what he's doing? I mean, just like that little Diego toss. Can't say Josh Allen. He likes Diego.
Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Hold on, before Carl, we got to ask him, what about this move at the end? Where'd you learn this one, the little cutback on this?
I don't know what I did. I think it just happened. He tracked me down last time.
Come on, you were just going to put it in the end zone. So.
I was thinking about diving for it, but, you know.
He might have been tired.
Yeah. I don't got good stamina.
So to go back that, I mean, what's your saying about Blaze? What's the saying you always say?
Blaze makes plays.
Well, doesn't Blaze amaze you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, on that play, I know I asked my son about that, and his eyes went down to the floor. I mean, so.
Yeah, no, there was one probably even more incredible than that against Blessed Trinity. I mean, we were third in forever. I think he was hitting the backfield by 3 different people, and then he finds Athen for a big, like, 16-yard first down. Athen almost scored. But, yeah, he makes plays, and it's never over. And he's done a good job this year, too, and when he scrambles, keeping his eyes downfield. But I think he was going to make those plays a long time ago. We were here at Pooler Stadium as a sophomore playing Calvary, and he takes off for a 45-yard touchdown against Calvary as a sophomore. And so we knew what we've had since he was here, since middle school. And so, but he's having a heck of a year.
Carl and I talked about it. Senior night, does it mean something for you to win on senior night like this and have your 3 seniors play so well, too?
Yeah, I think it means something. I think it means a lot for us, all of our seniors, and I think a big shout out to our O-line. They played heck of a night, and they couldn't have played better, for sure.
Okay, and I know we don't want to talk about next week. You don't want to talk everything, but you have to talk a little bit. What does this Toombs game mean to you guys next week? What would a region title mean after everything you've been through so far this year?
Yeah, it would mean everything. Toombs County is a great football program. They've got a lot of people that are going to their school right now, and Toombs is excited. They're probably one of the teams that brings more fans than I've seen. So we got to go there. They're going to be hyped. We're going to be hyped. We're going to bring a bunch of people. But they're a good football team. They're the state champs from last year. And so, but so are we. We're a good football team, and we want to win region, and we feel like we can be a state contender. So, but what an atmosphere it's going to be in the pit on Friday night. 2 really great teams playing, and so for a region title. So.
Well, Blaze, 136 on the ground, 196 through the air. Big win on senior night. Toombs County next week. What do you think?
I just think it's a great day to be a Raider. It's a bad day to be a Tiger.
There you go.
Yeah,
guys, thank
awesome.
you so much. Good luck next week. We're
Thanks
going to
for
hope
having
for you
us,
for the region and beyond. A lot ahead of you, hopefully, on this one. So,
Yes, sir.
Baker Woodward, Blaze Thomas, we appreciate it. Big Savannah Christian win. Go ahead and say go Raiders. I know you want to.
Go Raiders.
That's how he ends them all. So
Yes, sir.
we appreciate you right here on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week. These guys did everything they needed to. Thanks for running through some highlights with us, and thanks for a big win and a great crowd tonight.
Thanks
so
for having us.
We
Thanks for having
appreciate it. So we'll be back with you next week. OC Welch Ford, Lincoln Mercury here, just in case. The CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week brought to you by OC Welch Ford Lincoln. And find the certified pre-owned cars or truck you're looking for online. Go see OCFord.com. We could go to Toombs County next week. It's very far away, but we love Toombs County and we love you guys. But we're going to go to Statesboro, Statesboro Effingham
That'd be a good one.
next week for the region title over there,
Yeah,
too.
that's awesome.
So that's a big game. We love you guys. We're going to keep tabs on it, but we
Yes,
got you
sir.
tonight instead. So what do you think, Effingham or Statesboro? Who wins? Effingham.
I don't know. Statesboro's doing a pretty good job. He's an Eagle. He's an Eagle. I think I don't know. I think Statesboro. I think state's pro.
You guys are such politicians. He even chose one team on the east side of it. So
Georgia Southern. He's a Georgia Southern. And
is.
he's a teammate of Coach Tomasi.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
All right,
Good
7:30 on the CW next week. Thanks so much, Carl Tomasi, Andrew Davis, Baker Woodward, Blaze Thomas. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week.
Go
Savannah
Raiders.
Christian with a big win.